What's up, everyone? Welcome to Season Gaming Bitcast episode 122 this week, and we have one hell of a show because it's been one hell of a week. So you're going to... Nope, that's not how that sentence works. Yep. I'm going to be your host this week. I am the guy on the left this week, and I'm joined by my co-partner here, the guy on the right, who is coming in all caps. He's a little more aggressive about it.
Yeah, I'm really the guy on the right. I want to make sure everybody is aware.
There's no confusion about what side you're on there.
That's right.
Yep. And then joining us, so we had a reschedule, as I think probably everyone tuning in knows. So Jez Corden from Windows Central was scheduled to be here this week. He had a conflict this morning. We talked, and two of our good buddies here have joined us late. So I want you to give them a very big welcome because we owe them a big thank you for jumping on with late notice. So both returning members to Bitcast on our... I almost said the bottom guy on the left. We're not going to go there. We're just going to say
the power bottom.
HR Bomber joining us back from Gaming Beyond the Box. What is up, man?
Man, good day, good week, really good week. Excited for next week. I mean, there's just so much stuff to talk about. I appreciate definitely the welcoming here, and definitely ready to get some of these topics because I know there's a lot.
Yeah, there is a lot to talk about. It was a flux of just like regurgitation of news this week as I was trying to type everything up. So it was crazy. And then joining us again, I want to say for the third or fourth time now, he's becoming a regular, is Luke Lohr. You know him as Insipid Ghost, host of the Xbox Expansion Pass podcast. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here, particularly on this week. And I know what panel I'm on, so I dressed appropriately. So lean back. I dressed appropriately. I know where I'm at.
I can turn the names off so we can get a better look at the
yeah, that's right.
There you
go. That's right. Okay. Got to know your audience, boys. Got to know your audience.
It would be great if you could turn around and the back just said 2.0.
Yeah. Dude, yes.
Well, somebody at BioWare, call me in 6 years when you're ready.
Oh, shit.
All right, man. Well, we're going to jump right into it because it was a wild week for Xbox news. As I think we're all aware now, this news was not supposed to break with the Series S and all these other announcements until this upcoming week. Brad Sams, I guess, for good or bad or indifferent, no matter what you think, he jumped the gun and went ahead and unveiled the Series S, which I think the Xbox media team basically got together almost overnight. It was at like 3 a.m., right? They started putting information out. And it seems like they basically just said, cat's out of the bag, let's roll with it. And they just, it was Wednesday morning or something like that. They just went nuts. And it was announcement after announcement after announcement. So let's start with Hassan. Hassan has taken over as our new Pampa.
Don't say that.
$5 every week, but he talks about Anthem. I'd rather talk about Subway sandwiches than Anthem.
Oh man.
So, but thank you, Hassan. Great to have you here as always.
I was in his neck of the woods last week. I mean, I literally probably drove within like a half a mile of his house, right down 290. He's in Chicago.
In Chicago, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, chat, good to see everyone. Let's get it going. So we're going to touch on the Xbox Series S first because I think there's a lot to cover here. Obviously, a lot of conversation about all different aspects of it this week, including the hardware design. We can get into the scaling discussion and resolution debate. The price is a monster. We've got all access. So we've got a lot to cover here. So I wanted to start with your just overall thoughts on the console itself, the hardware, and the approach that Microsoft is taking, which is obviously different from Sony and two-console approach, but the entry-level console is actually an entry-level console, just not a digital version, right? So there's a noticeable difference here in graphics resolution rendering from the Series S to the Series X, but it allows them, obviously, to come into launch of next-gen at $299, which is, it doesn't really happen, right? So it's a hell of a market proposition. So let's just start. I'll just go kind of around the horn here. So Bomber, kick us off, man, with what you think on Series S, how appealing it is. What do you think this does for the market at $299?
Well, let's say this. for $299, it's freaking incredible. I don't care what anybody says out there. It is incredible to be able to get what's in that box for $300.
True.
Because you're not gonna match that with anything else that's out. You can't go buy the One X anymore, basically, unless you just find it somewhere.
Yeah, it's out of production. I think people are forgetting that too.
Yeah, like people don't understand this, and they're already starting to kick away the regular S. So you're really just going to have these two series Xboxes out there, which is a good thing, I think. I mean, for $300, give me a break. Next year, if you're going to wait, it may be down by $50 to $100. Give me, like, come on, you can't tell me this is a great thing. And then the downside to it, it looks weird. I mean, the big circle, I mean, the vent right there,
not a fan.
That exhaust vent is weird, but it's not terrible. I mean, with the white and black, it's a nice contrast, definitely, but I don't like it. Don't. I think it just looks funny. It doesn't. I don't know. It looks kind of cheap in a sense to me. I don't know why, but who cares really what the outside looks like? Really, I mean, because it's like the PS5. Like, I don't care what it looks like. Just give me what it's going to do. It's going to play games. It's going to play my digital library that I want it to do, and I think it's a great thing for this coming generation that you can. I mean, the casuals run the market. Casuals are the ones that buy all of these things. So this is great for casuals, 100%, and it's great for like what Microsoft wants to do is be able to get it in more hands, more accessible. And how do you be more accessible? Well, you make it cheap. You make a inexpensive way to get into next gen that gives you ray tracing, gives you 1440p up to 120 frames at $300. Like, no, like that's where I think is an incredible thing. Now you get into the technical side about what's been talking about like the last day or so about this like bottleneck crap. Like, look, I don't know enough to say yes it's going to or no it's not, just because of you have both sides. You have too many devs saying yes and no. So I'm not going to get into that part. Y'all can if y'all want to. But I think overall, absolutely, this is a great machine. That's for $300. I mean, come on.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And look, we'll go to you. Give me 1 second. Oh, that is the wrong message. I know Mo's in here somewhere. Mo, good morning, man. Huzzah, you beautiful bastard. Cheers to going broke these next 2 months. No doubt. I think we are all in that same boat. Why you're giving us money when you're talking about going broke, I don't know, but we do appreciate it. So thank you very much. All right, Luke, Series S, man, overall kind of hardware thoughts and market thoughts.
Well, I think it's a brilliant design. It was, we debated cost and pricing structures for months at this point, a year, I suppose, almost. And once it became real, it made a lot of sense. And because we went back and forth, do we like it? Is it smart to have 2 SKUs? Is that a viable option? Is $200? Is it $300? Is it $350? $400? And just the idea of what was what. But once I saw it, on paper, official $299 feels like a great price point for what you're getting. Feels like a wonderful entry point to the market for a casual fan. It's an incredible, I believe it was Phasma in chat that said it's an incredible Game Pass box. Yep. I fully agree and support that. And in all truth, I think this is the perfect second system. For over a decade, Nintendo has had their bread and butter sitting alongside one of the, they used to be called the HD twins, right? You would have your Wii or your Nintendo system next to a PlayStation or an Xbox. And I think that this box right here is a perfect complement to someone who wants the power of exclusives that Sony brings and still wants to experience Game Pass and the value that offers, including xCloud. And there's a lot they can do with this machine. I saw a lot about the specs and who cares or who's concerned. People are concerned about whether or not it's being bottlenecked. We have countless amounts of evidence that Power does not sell systems, and it is not the market leader. It's a great box quote, but it does not move units. Cost and IP do, and this is a great way for them to attack that cost aspect of it.
Good point. Yep.
And last but not least, as far as the industrial design, to Bomber's point, we won't really care once it takes its place amongst our shelf, right? The PS4 is ungodly big, despite being a unique design that I think a lot of people really
PS5.
enjoy. The PS5, yes, thank you. and the Series X is going to be strange for people to adapt to. But once it's in your on your shelf, you won't care. And it's sleek, it's small. That circular vent clearly shows that they are trying to make sure heat dissipation is accurate.
Yeah.
But it's a differentiator from the Series S or the Xbox One S, and that's an approach to that thought. I see Dan shaking his head.
No, it's because of the naming.
The naming, this. You know, we thought, you know, that there was that thing that came up this week. It's just they're fine. It's not like it's a huge issue. It's just like when we actually sit here and talk about it, it becomes an issue. It's like
because you have to really think about
you gotta,
which one you're saying.
Well, we had Xbox One for 7 years,
right? You know? And in a year, you won't do that. And how many Nintendo podcasts have people saying 2DS XL i3 new 3DS 25D Si1? And it's like, all right, names are names. And PlayStation's the only one that has had a good naming convention in the market. They've done it. They've done a great job of that. So take that how you will. But I thought the Series S announcement was handled as best it could be. Great looking box for what you're doing. Great amount of value. And I'm anxious to see how Sony responds and how this plays next to a Series X.
Yeah. It's so I watched the presentation with Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond and a couple that leaked this morning. I watched that this morning as well.
God. I feel like, I don't want to say I feel bad for them, but it really does suck that all their stuff is leaked.
And you know, a lot of work goes into that stuff, right?
Yeah,
so you're talking about a lot of time spent for big name people at a company. You know, that's a lot of investment money that is just wasted, really.
Question for you, gentlemen. Mm-hmm. I've seen back and forth about whether or not the leak was, whether or not people should be outraged that it was leaked, right? And before we jump in and tag that conversation, in my gut feeling is that this is a different type of leak than the night before E3, due to the delays, due to the fact that we've seen controllers out there and marketing already out there, and there'd been so much up leading there that I felt a touch different about this leak than I would have in July, where I would have been like, "Oh, come on, man, you're killing the work." And I'm wondering if you all feel the same, or if I'm in error. And then also the energy that people would have put into being outraged, I feel is being put into praising the PR team, which has handled it like absolute bosses. I mean, they have been incredible. So I'm curious your thoughts on that.
Well, anyone wants to touch on it, go ahead. Who wants to go?
Just as far as like how they handled the situation, it was fantastic. They did a great job. As far as, you know, how it was leaked, I mean, it surprised the hell out of me for sure. You know, when I saw a tweet from Brad Sams that said, you know, soon or something like that, I think is where he tweeted out. And then an hour later that everything was exploding.
And it was at like nearly 10 at night our time.
Yeah, it was super late.
Yeah, I was in bed and I saw it and I'm like, fucking, I got to get up.
Yep.
Yeah, because you literally said, well, I'm going to bed. It's like, and then like 15 minutes later, bam.
Yeah, I'm not joking. I rolled over to my wife and I was like, I got to get up. Something broke and I got to start typing. So,
exactly. I mean, it's you know, I think this kind of stuff is, you know, people were so hungry for it. You know, you waited so long. You had to expect something would probably get out. You know, yeah, it's disappointing, you know, from the point of view of the, you know, from Xbox, but you know, you pushed it. You kind of started pushing your luck a little bit, and you know, waited so long. You know, you almost had to expect that something would happen. You know, now I'm actually kind of curious on how Brad Sam's relationship with Xbox goes from here.
Definitely different this week than last week.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't know if you guys saw it, but a few of the marketing people at Xbox actually ranted on Twitter about it, which you don't usually see.
Rossetti did.
A couple of, Rossetti did, who's, I think he's an artist, but I forget the girl's name, another marketing woman, a couple of them anyway.
I thought Rossetti did the insider stuff, doesn't he? He works on the dashboard and everything.
Oh, I thought he was an artist. My fault. But yeah, they kind of said, you know, it's great to get a scoop or whatever, but this is really disappointing. You don't know how much work goes into this stuff behind the scenes, you know, to let us have our moment. And yeah, it's disappointing. So I don't think it was planned by any stretch. I think, you know, Brad did it. He got a scoop. And I don't know if you remember, but like an hour after he did it, he then posted that he thought their site was going to crash from all the traffic.
Yeah.
And it's like, so obviously, you know, he did it for that reason, which you can debate. I'm not a big fan of it, but then I've said a million times, I don't get paid to get clicks, which I'm thankful for, right? I don't have to worry about that. But if it was me, I would have felt bad. Like, I wouldn't want to do that to those teams, because I work with teams like that in a corporate structure, and I know what kind of work goes into this stuff, and that would piss me off, honestly.
No, for sure.
I mean, that's where I think like it sucks for them, especially because the S video was supposed to be in this full presentation. For the first time everybody's going to see it was next week.
Yeah, and their presentation was an unveiling of the S.
Exactly. Yeah. And it had everything, like with because that was kind of funny. If you watch the leaked stuff for this thing that's supposed to be for next week, it doesn't have was it Jason? Is it Arnold? Is that right?
Jason Ronald.
Yeah. He's not in the video because they took it out and put it in for what they had to post out. So I think it's kind of funny. Like, it sucks for them overall, but for us, hey, it's good. We all got the content. We still got all the same news. We just got it earlier. And then the funny part is for most people, it's pushing more that Sony needed to say something, and they finally said a little something. But the PR, just like y'all said, I mean, geez, they killed it, and all the memes, they went with it. I mean, just like Craig. I mean,
they've been good with it.
They just said, you know what, screw it, I mean, so it was good. I mean, it sucked for them overall, like because even Phil Spencer posted that tweet saying, yeah, it was supposed to be next week, but oh well.
Yeah.
What's interesting about that timing, though? If the event was to be next week, that would have coincided with, I believe, xCloud's launch, official, like Game Pass Ultimate launch.
That's true. Yeah.
And now, quite interestingly, the day after that will be PlayStation's event.
Right.
Which is, I'm sure, really and truly, I would imagine PlayStation, I think they had something scheduled for this week, actually. And when that happened, it looked like they kind of let Xbox have their moment, because it was their 25th anniversary for PlayStation or something like that. It would have been a great time to say, hey, come see us on this date.
Yeah.
And it felt to me like they saw what was happening and allowed that news cycle to play out. And now we're seeing a different strategy. Again, there's a lot of adaptability in both companies, good and bad. And that is at the very least, if nothing else, it is fun to watch.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's a chess match, and we get to sit back and watch it, which is cool. Yeah, no doubt. A couple funny comments here. So Bizzle says, "What's up, Bizzle?" He said, "I've already spent $1,200 between the final 2 months of the year," which is, I think a lot of us are going to be in that boat.
Yep.
One of the things about the Series S, so Dan, I'll get to your comments on the actual hardware in a second.
You're fine.
One of the things in the presentation this morning was they actually detailed the size and weight. So the Series S is 11 by 6 inches. So it's freaking small. And it weighs 4 pounds. So I mean, that's nuts when you think about it, right? For a console that's putting out that kind of power. And to your point, Luke, or Bomber, we were talking about price, right? There was someone who pointed out this is a Ryzen 2 CPU, just like the same CPU as the Series X, right? If you try to buy an equivalent CPU on the market today for your PC, it's nearly $250 for the CPU. Forget GPU and memory and everything else that goes into the console, right? So I mean, the bargain, the pricing here is kind of insane when you think about it. But Dan, what are your thoughts on Series S, man? It's all digital, which I know is good for you. We were talking, you and I were talking offline the other day about kind of resolution, and there's a diminishing return here. There's obviously, as Luke pointed out, this is a fantastic second console. What are your thoughts overall on this $299?
I mean, obviously this is going to be something for, like you guys said, more of a price, conscious the consumer. So if I were to get one, obviously I would go with the bigger, the more power. I mean, it just makes sense. I'm fine with it. It's a good move by Microsoft. I mean, if somebody says it's somehow a bad move, I don't understand it. So it's not. The only thing I would say is that if you're going for an all digital console, the storage isn't quite up to snuff with what you're going for. Now there are ways around it. I question if people will figure that out. Go get yourself a regular hard drive and just transfer games back and forth as needed, if that's something that is an issue. But if you're looking at $300 for the console, and then possibly $200 for an expansion for a terabyte, you're at the price for an X already. You know, so does it make sense to just go ahead and, you know, take the step up to the next level at that point? You know, I don't know. But then again, you know, those consoles are also going to have 3 or 4 games on them more than likely. You know, this is marketed towards, you know, the Fortnite, Minecraft, COD, FIFA, Madden crowd that only plays 2 or 3 games a year. You know, and this will be fine. This will do what it needs to do. You're not going to get the 4K, but those guys don't really care about the 4K. They probably care more about the FPS, you know, and if this thing can do 120 FPS or whatever, awesome. You know, I mean, it's not a bad thing. I mean, you can't really, you know, it's just not, you know, less money is better. I mean, that's as basic as I can get, you know, but.
And Dan, we've not mentioned the financing option for all access.
Yes.
Yeah,
that is brilliant.
Yeah.
And I was glad they very quickly addressed, no, that price includes Game Pass Ultimate, which is, to your point about the amount of games, that's a huge market approach. And if they can get the messaging right, that's sweet.
yeah. Oh,
And
yeah, for sure.
And they've already, you know, in that little snippet too, the leaked thing is that they were talking about how they have all these other, like Square Enix, all these other people that are going into Game Pass with Gen 9. So it's not just the games that you currently already know about. It's brand new games that they haven't even talked about yet that are going
Sarah
into Game
Bond
Pass.
said 90% of their game partners for Xbox are now joining Game Pass. 90%.
Whoa.
That's what on the leaked presentation she was speaking about. She was leading up to the EA Play thing, right?
Right.
But what she was talking about is how many of their gaming partners from third party are interested in joining Game Pass or joining Game Pass, and she said 90%.
And that's
Yeah.
huge. That's
it's massive.
Massive. And that's going to, I mean, I don't know how they're going to keep $15 a month, honestly, but
They're not.
I mean,
Not
you know,
forever.
yeah, it's definitely not going to be forever. It's kind of like, you know, the potential of the what Game Pass for PCs going up, but but for right now, it's a no-brainer. And then, like Inseven said, you're able to take $35 a month or $25, and you get a next generation console and 2 years straight of Ultimate.
Pass,
That also adds to your current Game Pass.
With
as long as
no,
you don't have
no upfront cost and no financing charge.
Yes.
And
0%.
it doesn't cost more. Like, they're not breaking you on it, which I thought was
less.
It's actually
it
less.
is.
Well, it's like $80 less for the X.
Yeah.
Like you're paying $100 less. You're paying like $20 less for the S. So I mean, it's like if you're able to, which I'm not gonna lie, some stuff came up for my family, and my money that I had for my X is no longer available.
Okay.
My wife told me I can just do the $35 a month, so that's what we're gonna do, and I'm kind of excited about it because I get to at least. I mean, because I don't know many people that are doing that, but hey, I'm doing it, and I hope I can actually get it on, you know, pre-order day, because I don't know how long that process is going to be.
right.
That's a good question. I think from what we're hearing, right, Xbox expects to have enough consoles for everyone who wants to buy one. Now, I guess we always see what that means, right? But that is a good question about all access. Do you get that console on day and date at launch like everyone else? I guess the assumption is yes, right?
It's a bad headline if they don't.
Correct.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm okay if I get it a day or two late. I'm not going to cry about it. Like, I know people are going to cry about it. Like, I didn't get mine on the launch day on the 10th. Like, I don't care. As long as I know I got one coming, I'll be happy. So
yeah. I mean, that's fair.
Go ahead, Dan.
No, it's with the all access thing. I mean, it sounds awesome. You know, and it's going to be targeting those people that can't afford $500 right off the bat, and it makes sense. I mean, I think you can get it cheaper. We kind of talked about that through our chat, Haynes. I mean, really, if you want to spend $500, you can go find a 3-month Game Pass card for $20. You know, and so you're looking at
if you kind of work around the
100%.
price.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But some people can't do that. You know,
Right.
and that's an awesome option. Now, what this all hinges on is how are they going to market it? You know, I mean, that is the one thing that I question, because we haven't really seen that from Xbox. We haven't seen like a marketing blitz that comes out and goes, hey, this is what we got. You have to get this into people's eyes, and people need to start seeing it. We know it on Twitter, but that's because we follow all this stuff.
Sure.
Now we need to get it. If this is for those casual people, tell those casual people what it is.
Absolutely.
And then maybe you move the needle. That's the biggest thing right now. I think Sony's in a position now where they don't necessarily have to come out swinging with their prices until the needle maybe starts moving a little bit, but I think they will. But yeah, the marketing part is huge, because it's such a good value, but people just don't know it yet, and the all access thing, another thing, and they're moving it to several different countries. That's another huge thing.
Yeah.
So I was going to touch on that. We kind of got ahead, but might as well since you're talking about it.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's what you do. We're good. Sorry for the blurriness on this picture, but yeah. So previously, right? I know it is bad. Sorry, but the point being is that yeah, it's 12 more countries, including if you really kind of study the market, right? There's some key countries here, right? So South Korea is a huge play.
Yes.
And if you notice, they're partnering with SK Telecom, and SK Telecom is the company they partnered with for xCloud in South Korea, which is a massive market. Obviously, you've got Canada this time around. You've got UK as well, and even some of these Northern European countries are big as well. So it's a big play. It's definitely a focus for them, and they're at Target, GameStop in the US. Target, GameStop, Walmart. And what was the other one? Best Buy, right? Now, Amazon was originally listed, but then removed. So I don't know what happened there, but that's definitely that's a miss, right? Amazon obviously goes without saying.
But the crazy thing about Amazon is they already had partnerships. So you could have there were some people that are probably already on with Amazon, which again, granted, I guess it doesn't matter because it goes to that Citizens One bank anyway.
Yeah.
But you're getting it through Amazon, so I don't know what bonuses you get or if there is any. I don't even know how, unless it's just like, hey, you got it to them, who cares? But they were on there for the original this whole time. Amazon was on there all the way up until Walmart, Target, and all of them got it, and GameStop, which now they're closing 500 more stores. So I'm like, why even? What? Don't buy.
Yeah, you're rolling the dice from there, man.
I'm not getting from GameStop.
No.
At its best, Amazon was okay, sketchy in terms of gaming and providing for games. Right. At its best, you might get your stuff on day one if you order it.
It's gotten worse and worse.
Agreed. And largely, I would argue that it perhaps is due to digital distribution and competing with that, not seeing the revenue there. But I want
Dan.
What's that?
I blame Dan.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Same.
Yeah.
Same. I got my fingers around my re-reckoning 3 days late, Dan.
Yeah.
Real frustrating. No. The comment I wanted to make was on South Korea specifically. They have tried several times over to break into the Asian market by way of Japan. And they seem to be retooling their approach to break into the Asian market. And South Korea seems to be the path that they're trying to take with xCloud. They're marketing over there with professional footballers and professional esports players together, which is very smart to do. That mobile market mobile infrastructure is very adept and will likely play very well with xCloud and what they're trying to do with Razer. So I think that's a great tactic and a change in strategy from what we saw in the 360 era, from the extremely lackluster efforts during the Xbox One era. They're also doing the same thing with India. So Wilmy's comment. But it is something to be said that they are approaching in a different way because they do need to push xCloud as the wave of the future as hardware begins to fade over the next 10 years. So.
Yeah, 100%. And as we've talked about many times, right, that market over there is already there. They're a mobile market. They're not a console market.
But they're not an Xbox market. That name is almost dirty in some places. And that if we can switch that out.
Dude, have you seen their commercials that they've, I guess, I don't know if they're leaked or whatever, but they were sent, I know I've seen them online, but they're, of course they're cheesy, but I think it gets the point across. Like every time it's gaming with a device, and it's always, of course, a Samsung device, which makes sense. So it's just funny. I just think it's, you see all that marketing there, but over here we're like, the only thing we get marketed is well, nothing right now. Like, we have nothing that you see on a screen, on a loading, on YouTube. Like, you don't see anything. Like, where the market, like, and I understand, like, now we finally have both consoles announced and priced, so now we probably should see I guess
there'll be a blitz in October.
And September, last week of September, you're going to see heavy marketing, I'm sure.
I hope
There's nothing to say, though. What were they going to say? Come play the Master Chief Collection.
That's part of the problem. I think up until launch, they really don't know what games are going to be fully ready, right? I mean, they're really pushing as late as they can go with what is going to be there at launch. And we just saw Kena get delayed yesterday.
I know, and I saw that, and I was leery. I was thinking that was going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
But then I was like, dang, that was one of the games that I was going to try to strive to get a PS5 for, because I mean, that looks fun. So.
Yeah, it looks fun.
It should be a healthy breath of patience and reminder that you probably don't need your next gen system at launch. If you're not able to get it, if the finances aren't there, there's nothing that demands you play it on next gen right away. Miles Morales will still be there. It likely won't be the industry shifting the way Spider-Man PS4 was, or at the very, like setting a precedent. You could probably wait and still get as much enjoyment, particularly with the smart delivery strategy that Microsoft's taking in. You'll load a little slower than some of your friends, but is that a reason to spend $500 right away if it's a struggle? No, and you'll still be able to play. Man. Yeah.
So real quick, I'll touch on the Series S. We've kind of jumped. So yeah, one thing I said for me, and I think it was Aaron Greenberg that made a comment about it too, is just the size of this thing and the weight and the price, right? And Luke, you touched on it, this is a great secondary console. Mm-hmm. So I'm always a Series X. I'm buying, we took Series X PS5 day one for me, no question. But I run 4 different rooms with Xboxes in my house, right? I travel for work when we're not in the middle of a pandemic. And I take my Xbox One X with me everywhere. Every time I go to a hotel room, the first thing I do, I get in, I hook up my Xbox One X, and I get it connected. So this is just a perfect machine for that. And as we've already said, even though it's all digital, which is not, I'm not big on, you're still able to plug in your external hard drives. You still got your internal Game Pass box, right? So when you travel, you could easily fit 4, 5, 6, 7, depending on the size of the games, right, on this, and you're just set. And it's a perfect type of box for that. Plus, my son games on a monitor and a TV with his Xbox One X and PC. Neither of them are 4K. They're both 1080, right? The screen I have in my bedroom is 1080. There's just a lot of opportunity for this box. So my overall thoughts is this is a gigantic play at the market. And I know we're going to get to it, but no matter what PlayStation does, they cannot match this price, right?
It's a very giftable price, right?
Yeah. $299. There's 2 price points traditionally in the console market that are game changers. The one is $299. Once you get to the $299 market, sales always tick up. And then the big monster late in the gen is $199, right? When things hit $199, it's like people will buy them even if they don't really need them. But coming into the start of next gen at $299 is huge. And the all access is just, to Dan's point, if they market all access correctly and make sure people know about it, then it's a gigantic play. So cool picture here, though. I really, the more that I've seen, I don't know about you guys, but I've seen kind of tons of the presentations this week with the actual kind of hardware units, right? The Series X is sexy as hell.
Oh, dude, yes.
I love that thing.
Dude, I love it. It looks like the NZXT H1 case, just in black.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I know what you mean.
Just the mini PC case, like it just looks good. Like, I mean, I'm sorry.
So clean.
Yeah, it's clean. Like, I know a lot of it. Oh, it looks just like a fridge or whatever. Like, whatever. I don't care. It's a big black box, and it's gonna play my games.
Glad you said box.
Yep. The only thing that bothers me about that is that damn stand. Man, it's gonna.
Yeah, that is weird.
My OCD is gonna go off the charts because I can't. Like, it's shorter than the X, right? The 1X.
Same height.
Same height. Okay, so my 1X can fit up and down on my stand, but I'm afraid that that's not going to give it the proper ventilation it needs, because you're looking at maybe half an inch
to be clear.
Yeah.
Well, they did show like that because of that back slot that if you, even if you put something on top of that top vent, it's still fine. Like granted,
so that might be okay.
Yeah, it's like even if you have a small clearance, I think you're gonna be fine because that freaking I don't even know how big that fan is because I don't know if they've actually said the size
it's got
of
that
it.
kind of circular motion through it, right? It shoots in different directions. So Dan, you can test it for us, and when yours breaks, we'll just tell people not to do that.
Yeah, that'll work.
Good call.
No, but I'm gonna have to lean it on its side, and it's gonna be that little circle thing is gonna.
Oh, that's gonna bother me.
It's just gonna bother. Yeah, it's just more of an OCD thing. It is what it is. I understand why they have it. You know, to get that proper ventilation totally makes sense. I still want to rip it off. So that's just me. But you know what? The problem is though, if you make that thing removable and people start taking it off, and then you start having issues with stuff inside, you know, getting too hot and burning out. And then you're gonna have a
red ring.
Like, hey, why is this happening?
Red ring. Oh no. As the design is of that thing, like the way, you know, everything is in its place and meant to be. I think that's why they just left it. It's like this is how it's supposed to be. Leave it alone.
Yep.
And the way they put the Xbox symbol, it's meant to just stand up, man. Don't lay it down.
Well, it looks so much better standing up too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Shit. I'm gonna get like a glass cutter.
You notice right on the Xbox. I don't know if this shows it. Yeah, if you right here. So the Series S logo is sideways. So it's you know, they designed it to lay down, not stand up. I think it's just the way that they're presenting it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm so curious to see the side by sides with PS5 when it happens, because we truly won't get a sense of scale till it's in our room because of the way the Series X and the PS5 are shaped. We just conceptually, it's difficult to imagine. And so when you put that Eye of Sauron router and that big old box of Series X,
big, dude. This PS5, because you know they've measured it based on the disk drive and the USB port. It's nearly 15 inches tall, which would be nearly 3 inches taller than the X. Plus, it's wider too. And
I've seen people, you know, in the social medias complaining about how big the Series X is, and I'm like, PS5 scares me too. And like, it could be fine. I just won't know till I'm there with it. But it is going to be fun to watch the parody videos because the memes just continue to be hilarious.
They still need to make a black one though. I'm still on that bandwagon.
Yeah. Well, the PS5 is another one because of its shape. Like I like the way it looks standing up, even though we all have the router joke, right? But I like the way it looks standing up, especially if you can actually put custom plates on like they've shown, right? If they do that for games, that'll be really cool. But again, I'm glad I can stand it up because I have a top shelf, right? Because laying down, it looks ridiculous.
It looks ugly. It looks ugly laying down.
I have no choice.
Imagine if they did color SKUs that are not purple. I'm sorry, that are not black and white, but they did like a purple or a green, the Nintendo approach. Would that be more incentive? Because I know Bomber mentioned he wants a black Series S. Can you would a purple or a green or a blue, would that sell you in any way?
On the X?
No, the S.
Talking about like
the S. The S.
Oh. So, I
mean, I don't know if it would make it. I mean, bottom line is it's just it's either you're going to get it or not. I don't know if it would make me.
I think maybe for
buy it more.
Maybe for like getting it for kids and stuff. Like my daughter, 100%. I guarantee if they had a purple, she'd be like, I have to have that. So I can easily see, and I think that's another reason why, you know, even though the Switch has so many different Joy-Cons or whatever, they sell like crazy because they want the colors and I'm sorry, but I think if they did come out with a purple, a pink, or you know, some crazy color like that, I could easily see that selling like crazy.
And we'll, you know, as we've seen, right, we'll see lots of themed consoles too. So you're going to have a lot of different, you know, custom consoles over time, I'm sure. So
for sure.
Real quick, going back to all access. One of the things I was stressing to a buddy in England is that, especially in America, buying things on a monthly payment plan is huge, right? It's just how Americans buy a lot of things, including devices, right? Phones are obviously the number one example probably here, but it's just, I think going back to Dan's point, they have to market it correctly. But if they do, I think $25 a month is, with Game Pass, no other investment needed on day one, technically, right? To your point, Dan, about storage and stuff. But just, again, foot in the door for next gen. If they do that right, that's untouchable. We've never seen you guys can feel free to argue with me here, but I've made the point this week that in terms of gaming value, as we go into a generation, you talk about $25 a month and you can get a brand new console that's next gen capable. Sure, you can talk about the resolution, but it does everything else, right? With 2 years of gaming service that include now with EA Play over 300 games on day one, online play and xCloud, all for $25 a month. We have never seen gaming value like that before in the industry.
Not even close.
That's what happens when you lose and you want to win. And they're ambitious, you know, which is cool because they really could have folded their cards and folded their hand and gone the Sega route, and they didn't. And I think gaming is better for it.
100%. Yeah. 100%. Pompa's back, man. Mariano, good to hear from you, brother. Do you expect any special editions at launch? Personally, my thought is no.
Halo next year, though.
Oh, you mean game launch?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I don't mean for this fall, right? Yeah. I think we'll have one at Halo's launch, 100%. But yeah, for this fall, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't see anything.
I think it's too tough for them right now.
Yeah, and I think, it's kind of interesting, right? Because I think if you go back in time and Cyberpunk was originally scheduled to release in November rather than May or whatever the prior release date was, we probably would have seen a special edition Cyberpunk series console.
I agree.
Instead, we got the One X, which I know Dan and I both have. But as Dan has rightfully said before, I now have a Cyberpunk console that I'm not going to play Cyberpunk on, which is kind of funny. It's just the way the timing worked out. So,
What a year, man. What a year. Everything shifted, and it shows the best laid plans. The unexpected hit.
Yeah. So let's talk about launch lineup.
What launch lineup?
They have those.
Yeah, games.
I think Nintendo has pretty good, right?
All right, so launch lineup, right? And what we saw this week, and I think we've talked about this, I know many people have, is that first party for both consoles is going to be lacking in launch. It's just the way the timing worked out. COVID's had an impact. Obviously, the Halo delay is huge. But what that means, of course, is we expected to see more third-party deals, right? Let's see enhancements for these new consoles, and let's see, really focusing on improvements and third-party deals. And what Xbox dropped this week was kind of along those lines, right? So we saw now Gears Tactics, which is PC only right now, moved up, going to launch with the console on November 10th. Assassin's Creed Valhalla moved up a week thanks to their partnership with Ubisoft. They have the marketing rights, right? Now launching November 10th on series consoles, and the full Series X patch or enhancement will be ready on day one as well, which is 4K 60, upgraded texture resolutions, upgraded shadowing, a bunch of things on Valhalla, which I'm really excited for. That's awesome.
Yes.
Watch Dogs Legion comes out a week prior, right? Or a week and a half prior on the 29th of October, but the Series X upgrade will be available at launch November 10th, including ray tracing on Series X and Series S, I think, for Watch Dogs. Yakuza Like a Dragon now moved up to the 10th as well. Dirt 5, Tetris Effect Connected, they announced yesterday or the day before, and that game Falconeer, which actually looks really good in my opinion. All that is coming November 10th, but as you can see, right, only one of those games is first party, and it's Gears Tactics. So what do you guys think about what you currently know of the launch lineup? Do you think they're going to continue to kind of work with some more third parties to see what they can get day and date with the consoles? And do you think is this enough to convince people to upgrade?
It doesn't really have to be, right? Because, the people that are playing, the larger percentage of people aren't going to be playing these games, really. Maybe Valhalla, and that's it. I don't know. Tetris, maybe. They're going to be playing COD. They're going to be playing, Minecraft and Fortnite and stuff like that. They really don't even have to upgrade, to be honest with you. But, if you're looking at straight from like a games perspective and what's coming out, it's really kind of underwhelming on both sides of the coin. So, you're basically getting these consoles at this point for that next gen experience, which I still haven't seen really from anything from anybody. So I don't know what the hell it is yet, but I'm still excited for it. I just want to see some more stuff. I want to see Valhalla running in 4K 60, as best that you can do, as far as, bringing it to the masses. I want to see Legion running like that, on either console. Show me something that says next gen.
Well, Call of Duty mentioned upgrades as well. I think they have the
Right.
marketing deal with Sony, so they've told, but they set up to 120 FPS, ray tracing, and upgraded things as well.
Yeah,
I don't know if y'all watched that Call of Duty trailer. It says captured on PS5, so
Right.
it looks incredible. Personally,
I want to see something that I'm going to play.
Yeah,
because that's the thing. I literally, Valhalla I'm going to play for sure. Cyberpunk, I'll play Legion. Yakuza's doing me dirty right now with this whole turn-based crap, but we'll see. But it's so weird. It's just a weird gen launch. It's not really what I'm used to. You don't see it's almost like a mid-gen refresh more than it is. It is like a, an actual new generation. I think we'll see that in time. I think 6 months from now, a year from now, we're going to start seeing, oh, this is why I bought this console. This is what, so, Gears Tactics, it moves it a little bit for me, but, a Falconeer, it looks it looks all right, but it's not something I would typically play. So it's, as far as the game's perspective, neither one of them has really come out swinging in that, in that sense, I don't think. So I would like to see a little bit more, but maybe I'm just being selfish, but I don't really give a crap because I don't care about other people generally. So, literally, we talk about this pro-consumer crap all the time. The only consumer I care about is me. So if you want an opinion, I want some good stuff. I want to see some stuff, like Halo being delayed doesn't affect me one bit.
That's it.
Sorry.
It's coming back.
You're a monster.
You leave me no choice. You leave me no choice.
There it is.
There it
Yes,
is.
but Cyberpunk, that's we're going to be playing Valhalla Cyberpunk. There are going to be games to play for sure. So you can't really come out and say that there's going to be no games. But it's just we're not seeing really anything from first party. So it's kind of up in the air. That's why I'm kind of holding off and seeing what Sony brings, and then even. We only have what 10 days before the pre-orders come out now. So crap, we're running out of time to, show us what we need to see, I guess, or what I need to see anyway. So I don't know.
I think you made a kind of a good point it feels like a mid-gen, because that's really what it is. It feels like we're getting consoles at launch that are really going to be just playing the best version of games we could play elsewhere, right? Mm-hmm. With the only exception that we know of probably being Spider-Man, and we still have not seen that confirmed that it's day and date, which maybe we will Wednesday during Sony's event. But for someone like me who's not interested in Spider-Man, I'm back to zero, right?
Yep.
And now say it again.
Cancel lanes.
But with Halo delayed, and now on the PS5 Deathloop and Kena delayed, it's like they're dropping like flies, right? Yep. So anyway,
last week on XEP, I talked a lot about the power of IP and what that serves for selling a unit, and to the point of next gen, and a lot of the comments that we're seeing, I think are quite accurate. There is no reason to upgrade day one in terms of a single game that you must play right now that we know of. It'll all be incremental refreshes of stuff you already know or could play somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I don't think Gears Tactics is going to move a single unit on its own in any needle. Like no needle is going to be moved because of that, just because people have already played it. And if they wanted it that badly, they would be playing it on PC. And I believe there's still an Xbox One version on the way. Smart delivery complicates this issue just a bit. To that same point, I think a lot of this, we talk about the third-party deals. Microsoft has shown that they are unwilling right now to throw down the money in order to buy a lot of those deals. It is a big thing that Spider-Man is exclusive to PlayStation. That is a big thing.
The biggest thing for the fall, if it launches.
Yeah.
Right.
The fact that they didn't go out and snag Call of Duty speaks volumes, because it shifted in the PS4 gen, and that I think was a big factor in moving some of those units at the time, because that is a casual market and people buy Call of Duty. EA Play is a great get into Game Pass, but most people don't know what EA Play is. That value was there well before Game Pass, and it didn't move Xboxes. EA Access was special, and it didn't move Xboxes because it wasn't marketed well. They need to show a willingness to go spend that money on those third-party deals, get those third-party exclusives, not Tomb Raider, with respect. And they don't show a willingness to do that. And that's probably because they're eating costs on other fronts to bring you the incredible values that you're getting. But no one thing is moving units. I would have loved to see Call of Duty be the one, or Batman be over there on the Xbox side of marketing. And right now it doesn't look like that's happening. And what's your incentive to bring people into the Xbox ecosystem? Value proposition, Game Pass, but it's not a game. It's not a power thing, because that doesn't move the needle the way that other needles move in other markets. And there's something to say and to keep in mind about that. Power does not sell. It doesn't sell on a mass scale.
Yeah, mass market. Yep. Bomber, 1 second before I get your thoughts, man, and because it kind of relates to Luke's point. I don't know if you guys saw this. It was posted this morning, and Jeff Grubb, who's commented on a few things lately, said during a podcast, said, I have heard that Microsoft is now spending a lot of money on something that is not an acquisition. And so
that counters my exact point then, theoretically.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
And,
that's a great
thing. I were talking about this prior to the show because it just popped up like half an hour before the show. And so that was kind of the question, because you're exactly right, Luke. Even Phil Spencer has said he's not a big fan of these third-party exclusive deals, right? They get marketing rights like they have for Valhalla and Cyberpunk and stuff, but they don't do these timed exclusives often for full games anymore. Or content like we see in Call of Duty with PlayStation. But as we just said, first party is pretty dry for both companies, right? Right now, believe me, there's millions of games coming for both, but at least for the first 6 to 12 months, it's pretty dry. So maybe Xbox is thinking, to your point, this is what we got to do, right? We've got the money, obviously. We need to draw people and give them a reason to buy one of these consoles or jump in. We need to work on something third party. And what I was going to put forth, and no, I have not heard anything on this, but I just, it's something I could see them trying is
insider information. Everybody get ready. Insider.
Do you think, now that we've seen with Valhalla, we've seen with Yakuza, we've seen these other things, do you think they try to get Cyberpunk to move to November 10th on Xbox?
Ooh.
Do you mean like a week of exclusivity or Game Pass? What do you mean a week of exclusivity?
Meaning you can play it November 10th on Xbox, but it still releases on the 19th on PC and PS.
How many people would buy an Xbox just for Cyberpunk?
For a week's early access?
1 million?
9 days?
500,000? 100,000?
Like I said, pure speculation. You kind of see them trying to beef up their launch lineup, and you've got the biggest game of the year outside of maybe Call of Duty, right, because of the IP. But you've got the biggest kind of new IP of the year, bar none. Sitting there 9 days after launch, and we know the game is done. They've said as much. I don't know. It's just a thought.
I would just unfortunately not the next gen version though. That's the only thing that's upsetting. I would say is upsetting is that well, at least they have yet to say that is a confirmation that they're not ready for that yet.
Yeah, but they said you'll get better graphics, load times, all that stuff.
Yeah,
on the hardware. You're not getting the full upgrade until next year. Yeah.
Right, and so I think that's where. Could it sell? I mean, could that be the thing? Absolutely. Could it be that they're putting it into Game Pass? Could be. That's a lot of money.
That would be way bigger.
Like that would be huge. Bigger. If they say, guess what? On the 10th, it's in Game Pass.
That would be. I can't imagine the money.
Everybody will buy it. Then at that point, will that move Xboxes? Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, 10 days of exclusivity is not it. That's a bad spend of money.
I agree.
But Game Pass?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, then every Game Pass commercial suddenly has the Chief, Gears Tactics, Microsoft Flight Simulator, Cyberpunk, and Arkham Knight. Or I'm trying to think of like the big heavy hitters because Batman and Spider-Man sell units.
Yep.
Call of Duty sells units. Assassin's Creed, I don't think sells the units that once did, though Valhalla could shift that. What else sells units on a level that would be worth spending exorbitant amounts of money on? Anything else?
You already heard me say Tetris effect, Luke.
Yeah. Well, you know what would be interesting.
Got me, guys. You got me.
With EA Play All Access, whatever the hell it's called now, coming to Game Pass, which we'll touch on here in a little bit. What if it's an EA deal to bring FIFA and Madden and those games to Game Pass day and date?
With or without the extra ads?
Dude,
with or without the ads?
Yeah,
dude, that would be ridiculous.
That's
asking.
I mean, you're already got a partnership with them. It wouldn't matter for me, but I mean, those are huge games.
Yeah.
Those are going to bring people that will sell consoles. I think even more so than Cyberpunk, because I think more people will play those.
Oh, yeah, if it was FIFA and Madden, 100%. Yeah,
it'd be crazy. That'd be my guess.
What Walter said in chat was the World of Warcraft on console would sell units. The only support in that is that, remember, there was I believe it was a Brazilian leak where they had an Xbox version set up, and there's a partnership with Razer for keyboard and mouse to go onto Series X. And that's a stretch, but it's kind of a cool thought.
And Blizzard, of course, has came out strongly and said it's not happening. But of course, we've seen them. Many people
Blizzard do a lot of things.
Absolutely, especially since they're with them and Activision. I can easily see this being just they'll turn that around and say, okay, it launches November 10th. Yeah. But no, I think that would be huge. And just like you said with the EA thing, and that's where the only problem with EA Play is it's not the same as their Origins thing, and that's where they would have, that's the difference, because that's what's on PC is the Origins, where you do get day and date for $15 a month.
Yes.
So I don't know how they would do that. It's kind of like the Ubisoft thing. Yep. They're $15 a month. If somehow they spent that money and got Ubisoft and EA to put all their games day and date and Game Pass.
Crazy here. Crazy.
Hey, I'm just saying. Hey, it's money, right? What else could they spend a ton of money on that guy is saying that's gonna be impactful other than we got? I mean, I don't know what game's going to be coming out. Biomutant. I don't know. Something I don't understand. It has to be something big for them to be spending a ton of money that they're not going to go after acquisitions, because they're not buying WB, unfortunately. But
yeah, no, that's kind of the point, though, right? It's if you think you're spending a ton of money, it's not an acquisition. They're not talking about the investment they're making in internal studios, because we already know they're doing that, right? I mean, that's just an ongoing thing. It has to be. What else could it be? It has to be third party related. It's not hardware. I mean, the hardware's set, so it's got to be third party stuff. Maybe? I think Dan asked the same thing when we were talking offline about it, but I think marketing is its own budget. That's its own thing.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Which they need to increase, by the way.
They got Spider-Man. We can get Night Monkey.
Hey, now if they spent money and it just got Ong Bonk or whatever not Ong Bonk, I know that's the daggone movie. But whatever that stupid Monkey King crazy looking game. Yeah, Wukong. There you go.
Oh, I didn't know where we were going. I got real worried.
Sorry. That game looks incredible. Of course, they said it's not coming out for 3 years, but say Microsoft threw money at them, said, look, exclusive of us, we'll give you money to get it out sooner.
Yeah, well, and I mean, that's a whole nother topic, right? But I mean, Xbox, more so than PlayStation to date, has definitely pushed to the Chinese market, which is a whole nother giant just waiting to kind of erupt, right? The Chinese market in gaming is already huge. It's just very regulated. And, Xbox is looking for that in there too. They've been doing that for a while. So it's interesting. But Chinese development, in the next 5 to 10 years, Chinese game development is going to explode. And they're going to dwarf Japan in the future. But again, that's a whole nother topic.
One small thing in that. I had heard rumors that had some credibility to them that Gears 5 was getting DLC, campaign DLC, I should say, right around that time. I do not know if that has maintained, but given that Gears is 120 frames per second on next gen and that it's capable of scaling that way, they might try to use that as a method. I don't know that that's the best choice. Gears 5 has already been out, so it's not new, but maybe they might package that and suggest that that's a new way to play Gears 5 or something.
That'd be nice. I hadn't seen that, haven't heard that. But yeah, Gears, bring it on, man. I'd love to see some more Gears. We got Bizzle saying what we need is a new Conquer. not before Banjo.
Banjo
You need
first.
Banjo. Come on.
Absolutely.
Might as well just
maybe
throw
that's
cancel ban up in the banner again because
$200 million Banjo AAA game.
yep,
There you go.
that'll sell.
Oh man, so we kind of touched on it already, Dan, but EA Play moving to Game Pass. This was one of the other big announcements this week. This is a $30 a year service. You can get it slightly cheaper. You know, I actually just renewed a few months ago for like $22 or something, right? So you're talking about $2 a month typically. But what this does, if anyone's confused about what this actually does today, it gives you 10% off any EA games digitally. It also gives you 10% off of anything in the games, right? So if you're one of those people that plays like Ultimate Team where you're buying packs or DLC or whatever, you get 10% off of all of that. After anywhere from 6 months to 12 months, what have you, certain games become added to the vault in EA, which means you can then play the full version of the game for free. So for instance, you as an EA Play member right now, you can go download Battlefield
Anthem.
5.
Also,
Anthem. There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You can download. You can download Anthem, Battlefield 5, Titanfall 2. If you haven't played that,
Yes.
I don't even know why you're here right now. Go play it.
Yeah.
But you know, games like that, you get the full version after a little while after release, and then they also do game trials prior to release, which I actually kind of like. Right, so like 3 to 5 days prior to a game releasing, you get 8 or 10 hours of gameplay of the full game prior to release to see if you want to buy it. So it's not fantastic. It's not some amazing, incredible service. It's a nicety, right? If you like some of the games in the EA catalog, it's a nice thing to have. So this is a nice addition to Game Pass. To Luke's point, I don't think you're moving the needle here. It just makes Game Pass an even better value than it already was, and it already was the best value in gaming. So, you know, here we are, right? All of us, I'm sure all of our audience are already Game Pass subscribers, probably overwhelmingly. So it's a nice thing to have. And I like that I just renewed and they're like, you'll get extra Game Pass Ultimate months now.
I saw that. Yeah.
You know, like converted. So I think that's cool. Bizzle, yes, Battlefield 5 is on EA Play right now.
Yeah, if the price for Game Pass Ultimate goes up, we can get rid of this, and I'm cool with that. I mean, if that means keeping it at $15, because then you're basically paying twice as much as what you did before. I had it for like some time, but it's just not worth it to It's great that it's free. That's just I'm not going to complain about it coming to Game Pass
because you don't play Ultimate Teams, right? You don't play Battlefield.
Yeah, and this is fantastic. Whatever. I mean, it's free stuff. I mean, you really can't complain about it. But let's not forget, EA is still the devil, and they are still the worst company in the world. So
have you heard of 505?
Yeah, 505 is not better.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. I think as an overall look, an overall, just from their history, EA games can suck it. But it's just the biggest thing for me here is it's basically just a free add-on that's going to be there. It's kind of like xCloud for me to a certain extent. It's like, hey, this is going to come with it. This is great. Add more shit to it. I don't care. That's fine. I'll take whatever you want to give me. For $15. That's great. But just remember, it's still EA and they still suck. Don't ever let that go away. Keep that right back here.
Oh man. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys want to add anything else to that. There's not a whole lot to touch on there.
It's just basically, I mean, I like sports games, so yeah, I'm for it. I've always had it since day one.
You play the Ultimate Team stuff?
I did, but never paid money into it because I think that's I completely think it's a waste because it's just like the 2K stuff. You put all this money into it, then the next game comes out, you can't use any of it. So it's
free backs, and then you start over. Yep.
You might as well turn all sports games, which I think y'all have talked about it before. I think most of everybody else, just make it a games of service, one game, update it for $20 the next year to get the updated roster. You keep all your stuff. But
basically what they do anyway with Madden.
No, exactly. Or even worse, because they give you 2021 and then have 2019 painted all over the stadium.
That was hilarious.
I mean, it's getting to that point where it's pretty sad with what they're doing, but I still enjoy them. I love FIFA.
For sure.
I do like Madden for what it does, except for when it does a white screen for me. But But the other games that are in the vault, I think that's what sells me more than anything now, because you got Alice, you got freaking the 3 Dead Spaces, which I don't play, but I know those are great games. All
games there, Star
Mass
Wars
Effect,
games, all the
Star Wars.
games.
Yeah, the only one that's not right now is the latest one.
Fallen Order.
Yeah, Fallen Order, which it may be coming. We'll see.
I'm sure that's coming.
Yeah, but
Did
anyway,
you guys see what Mr. Badbit Games put in chat, asking if this opens the door for Uplay or BattleNet or other subscription type services? I wonder about that, because it depends on the catalog and the value. Ubisoft has been trying to set up their own version of this. Yep. PlayStation Now themselves are still figuring out their tactic with what they're going to do as a service. And I would imagine you hear PlayStation Now a lot next week, in order to compete, and rightfully so. And we want that. I don't know that every service is going to jump in there. I don't know where Activision's going to go if they decide to put anything in there at this point, but it opens the door for a conversation at the very least. I don't see it happening consistently. I think you'll see more of a Red Dead thing where it rotates in, rotates out. Get spike your numbers up for people sharing and trying out the game, bring them in, and then you exit out. Maybe Call of Duty jumps into Game Pass for a bit or hits PlayStation Now for a bit. But I think it opens the door for a conversation. I don't think it's a long-term conversation.
Yeah. And I think the more interesting thing, because EA Play really wasn't, it wasn't the same type of service as Ubisoft or what the other companies are trying to do.
Exactly,
so to Dan's point, it'd be interesting if they just, say, Game Pass is already so big, because one of the things we didn't touch on with All Access, which I wanted to touch on going back, is when you do get people signed up with All Access, that's an automatic 2-year Game Pass subscriber you've just added to as well, right? Yep. And what that does is they're already, from what we're hearing, over 15 million subscribers now, right? Yep. So if Series S and X do well and All Access does well, big ifs, we'll see. But if they continue to push Game Pass, very soon in the future, they're going to pass 20 million subscribers in that service. And what that does is it allows Microsoft to go to companies like EA and say, why are you trying to push EA Play that makes $2 a month for 1.5 million people? Come join us. We've got 25 million people subscribed in the service. We'll give you X cut of the money. You know what I mean? It's like PS Now, to your point. PS Now, we learned 2 weeks ago, even after 6 years on the market, is it 2014, 2013? Yep. Maybe earlier, I can't remember. 2.2 million sub, 2.2 million, even after cutting their price in half. It's just not doing it because they're not giving the same value that Game Pass is doing.
And they have more games. Technically, they have 800 in there just because of all their old games you can stream.
Yeah. So I just think that Game Pass, in terms of you have to look at it from a market perspective. It's not just the value we're getting, but the power it gives Microsoft to go out and say, we have the number one service in gaming, no matter the platform, right?
Right.
And that's why you can make deals like this with EA Play. So it may, Dan, go back to your point. It gives them even more power to say, hey, bring Madden at launch into Game Pass. We'll pay you extra money, but put it in launch, and you'll have an additional 20 million players on day one playing Ultimate Team, where you get to make all the money.
Yeah, you're making all the money. Yeah.
I wonder if they can make, would Microsoft take a cut of the microtransactions because it's on Game Pass?
Turn into an Apple.
I mean, that's the thing. That's where that money is going to come from with those games. Is going to be, the MUT stuff and all the.
They made 800 million in a quarter.
Right. So what are they losing by just giving people access? This is how this stuff works, right? You get Fortnite. They don't make any money. They don't sell the game. It's free, but they make billions of dollars on skins. Madden makes billions of dollars selling card packs. You don't have to actually charge for your game.
Warzone gone nuts for Call of Duty.
Exactly. That's where the industry's going. And you're going to have somebody like Microsoft come up to you and say, hey, we're going to pay you, $300 million to put this on, day and date on Game Pass. Yeah. And they're like, that's fine.
20 million extra people that can play your game now.
Right. Yeah. And now you just, that would move consoles in my opinion, but
but reliable revenue of a subscription service is I think, more of an incentive to investors than saying, we've got 110 million units out there, 100 or 50 million units out there. They might buy your game, and when you've got reliable revenue, you're able to plan quarters, budgets far more sustainably than not. And that is just such a huge sway in the executive room when you're talking marketing deals, when you're talking about what you can do with a service and with your reach as far as exposure. Plus, once you give a game to somebody who in their mind will see it as free, because when I see a game come into Game Pass, it feels free because Game Pass is what I've accounted for in my spending normally. Suddenly I'm clicking Xbox share, and suddenly people are sharing the image. I'm like, oh, cool, that's in there. I can go try that, want to do that. The way that I got Bad Bit to play Sea of Thieves with me or Halo Wars with me, you didn't have to buy it. I'm like, hey, just try it with me. And then suddenly you might hook them, you might not. But then there's time invested, sharing, people talking about it in content creation. That's just such an incentive for people to put their content in there, even if they pull it out later.
The statistics bear that out. I mean, to your point. And the smaller the developer or publisher, the more reliant they are upon player base, right? Especially today's market with so many games, curation's a real issue. That point you just made is even more valid. And we've heard that. We've heard tens and tens of indie developers now come out and speak in favor of Game Pass, saying that this has just been a difference maker for us. And what's that going to do, right? When they develop their next game, what's the first thing they're going to think? We got to get this in Game Pass, because look at what it did for us. It's just, it's a very long-term strategic goal, and it's worked out. I don't see how it could work out any better. You can talk about selling consoles all day, and that definitely plays a factor in the market. We know that, but Game Pass has been something else entirely. Hey, Pampa gave us another foot long. He says, you think Game Pass, so I think we talked about this a little bit either last week or the week before, but you think Game Pass will ever make PS Now have their first party games day and date on the PlayStation side? So personally, I don't think so. I think that Sony's the way that Sony looks at PlayStation, going back to the whole generation conversation, they are much more invested in moving people from PS4 to PS5. It's why Spider-Man is only playable on the PS5, right? Miles Morales. And so I think what they will do, and we've started to see some of this, is similar to almost like EA Play was, where it won't be day and date, but maybe 3 months post-launch, 6 months post-launch, you're going to start to see more of their big first-party titles. But personally, for me, the way Sony has structured the PlayStation, their ecosystem and what they're relying upon in terms of their revenue generation, I personally don't think they'll go day and date. What about you guys?
I really think they will. I mean, eventually, the thing is, like you just literally said it, these developers that are seeing all this extra revenue from putting their games on Game Pass. And
first party.
What? First party, yeah, 100%.
But Dan, why would they do it now? They are selling their first party games like hotcakes. Why not save it for a year from now when they need a slam dunk ahead of a holiday? Or
that's fair. You could do it now at this. If they were to come out and say that, say next Wednesday when they have their announcement, it would be huge. If you just look at the numbers, for Xbox, say it's at 15 million people. You're looking at 30% of the Xbox owners that have Game Pass, and that's just based on sales numbers, so it might actually be a higher percentage. If you move that over to 120 million or whatever they're at, that's a humongous. They're not putting out 5 or 6 games every year, right? So if you want to use that $180 subscription service or whatever, pop it up, PS Now to $15, and now it's $180. It's 3 games technically. It just makes sense, from a money standpoint, you're going to make more money doing that regardless. I think you will. Spider-Man sold, 13, 14 million copies? If you just do the math, it doesn't make any sense. And that's over 2 years. It's just going to – people are still going to buy those games. People are still going to buy Spider-Man. People are still going to buy God of War.
People still buy the games.
What?
We've seen that in Game Pass.
Right, buy the exactly. Games. They're still going to buy the games. They're still going to go out and sell them. Maybe they sell – half of what they sold. Say they sold 7 million, but you're still looking at numbers. But now you've got, 40 to 50 million people that are on PS Now paying you $15 a month. So I think that it would offset their numbers, and it would be obviously more, those people that love that Game Pass value, making PS Now like it would make sense for them, really. And also for me, it'd be awesome. But, but for them, I think it would make sense. But that's just, right now they're kind of stuck in that old school way of thinking, and I think once they start seeing if Game Pass, starts really showing those gains, I should say, I think, they'll have no choice but to adapt. And you said it several times, you kind of force other people's hand. When you see something that's successful and that's working really well, then you're going to gravitate towards it. I think you're right, though, Luke, to a point where, maybe you come out a year later and say and do that, right? Because really, you're not going to have a ton of big first-party games that I know of that are coming out right now. Even the next year, Horizon Zero Dawn is probably 2 years out. A new God of War is probably 3-4 years out still. So you've got time to adjust. To your point. Yeah. So I think eventually they will. But I mean, I could, why not just do it now? Give me some stuff, man.
I think that's the thing though, is like when you've got Horizon Zero Dawn 2, God of War, Spider-Man, Last of Us, Uncharted, when you've got high profile, incredible IP that consistently sets a precedent in the industry, knack. When you have consistently performing IP, there is no incentive to change. Their finances look great. They're gonna eat so much overhead on those PlayStation 5s, whether they sell them at 500, 400, whatever. Those things are expensive. I think they do not bundle much. Next holiday, you get a Spider-Man bundle. Mid 2022 or after, they'll be incentivized to start changing if things continue to go the route they're going, where Game Pass continues to go up. But let's just say, let's just call a spade a spade. PlayStation is going to outsell Xbox in this next gen, and for boxes, for units sold, 100%. That's going to happen. They outsold 2-1 plus this gen, and rightfully so, based on how the system's launched. Microsoft is playing a different game, which we want, but I don't think Sony is incentivized to change, and they've actively doubled down on we believe in generations, staying the way we are. So it's down the line for sure, but that's such a great headline. Sony is now doing this for you.
For sure.
And I think it'll take a bit. Sorry,
definitely be for the players at that point.
Somebody in chat asks an incredible question. Mariano asks, why is Sony putting their games on PC?
Mariano asks, man.
Mariano.
That's just a great question. Why would they put it on PC? Because in other places it's selling, and that's money made. Why not? And right now, their older games are going. Why not send your older games over there and double down? Sea of Thieves, great sales numbers on Steam when you can buy it on Game Pass for PC. Putting it more available in other places, they're different markets.
Steam is its own beast. I mean, Steam, there's many millions of PC players that only buy games on Steam. That's their ecosystem, right? The other thing, and sorry, Bomber, I feel like we just keep talking up.
No, you're good. You're good.
The other thing, to your point, is Mariano, on this question specifically, is there is a overestimation by people of how many people figuring out the best way to word this. Sorry. What we hear with Xbox, it's like, oh, I'll just go play on PC. I don't need an Xbox. Mm-hmm. That is overstated. That's Twitter nonsense. That's not what happens in reality in the market. Right. The market is consoles and PC. PC players, overwhelmingly, if you look at the data, unless you're like us where we play on freaking everything, right? But if you're talking about people who choose a platform to play on, the PC players aren't interested in consoles. And the people who play on consoles, the mass market people, especially on the PlayStation side, aren't interested in PC gaming. It's just the facts. The numbers are there. So what PlayStation has done is seen that Microsoft's crushing it on PC, right, with their games. I mean, we saw it. We had Grounded, Flight Simulator, Sea of Thieves, Gears Tactics.
It was like something like 4 of the top 7 games or something like that, right?
All XGS, right? Xbox Game Studios on Steam. Despite, to your point, all of them being on Game Pass. Mm-hmm. So, but the sales on console are still solid. And so PlayStation's just they're just figuring it out later that, hey, this isn't going to hurt our PS5 sales or PS4 sales. It's not going to hurt the console sales. put the damn games on PC, and it's in their corporate report that we reported on a week or two ago. It actually says for growth in revenue in the market, we're going to put more games on PC. Excuse me.
It just gets their name out there.
And they're also releasing them at full retail price that they came out 2-3 years ago. So I mean, that's and PC people will buy it up, and they have, because they're like, my version's better because they enhanced it, even though the ports have apparently been awful.
Horizon Zero Dawn had some hilarious bugs. That was funny.
So like, but yeah, it makes sense. This makes sense that they put it on PC. It never hurt the consoles. It never will. The consoles will sell because the console is console gaming, just like you said. Yeah. It's just like how, they show all the, who's getting what, who wants what. Like IGN put out like, it's like 70% want a PS5 and like 10%'s Xbox. I'm like, in reality, that's not the case. Technically, if you look at numbers, it's not. You have 50 million possibly Xboxes, 120 million. It's not 70-10, or 90-10 at that point. Like you don't have that huge discrepancy as what we think these polls are. So people just take Twitter too seriously.
And this is another great point that Dano makes, and this would be another argument for them not doing day and date on PS Now, in a way, depending on the way you look at it. But another thing Sony is doing, right, by putting their games on PC, like Horizon Zero Dawn, is you're planting that seed, because now you've developed a fan of Horizon Zero Dawn, which is an amazing game, one of my favorites from the whole generation. And then Sony comes out and says, you want to play Forbidden West, you need a PS5.
Right, but if you're a consumer, just like a regular consumer, and you're like, well, I really am a huge fan of Horizon Zero Dawn, and that's it, because maybe they don't buy God of War. Do you go out and buy a $500 console? Is somebody going to go? Who's going to go out and buy the $500 console, as opposed to say, I've got a PC already, I can buy a $60 game if it's there on day and day. I don't think that will move people to buy that console. I don't think. Not one game.
In the case of a $300 S, it will.
Right. Yeah. That might.
That's a conversation too. Yeah.
But I think what you kind of talk about, like,
but you don't have to because it's already there.
Yeah, but like it's like forcing you to buy this PS5 for the sequel. But guess what? These PC guys have waited 3 years to get this first one, so they can wait. And PC people are okay with waiting. They're okay because they want to see a discount on Steam. They want, like, that's just how PC. I mean, come on.
I worded that pretty poorly in the way I said that, because that's kind of the point. They're not going to run out to buy that PS5 console. That's not what the PC only guys do. We just said that, right? But it does plant that seed of, hey, there's a sequel coming. When's that coming to PC? And it creates that buzz, right? Of that, the Sony first party kind of buzz outside of just PlayStation consoles.
I mean, if you release the day and date, does it sell? Let's say Spider-Man, sold 13 million copies. What does it add if it released first, day and date on PC?
It only goes up.
Yeah, right. It can only go up. So I mean, it's like, just based on that alone, why not just do it? I mean, it's not gonna, if you want to try to get people into your ecosystem and into your console, that's fine. I understand that part of it, but I don't know what they're gonna make on these consoles yet. I don't know what are they gonna make any money on them? Are they gonna lose money on them? I mean, I would think they would lose money on them, but who knows? Yeah. I mean, I think what it was, a PS3, I think they made like $16 a console, right off the bat. Now that went down as
PS3.
I think it was PS3. Maybe it was PS4. I remember reading an article.
They made money along.
It was like $16 or $18.
It was like, it wasn't very, but that's just your first year, maybe two. I mean, so it makes sense. For me, obviously, we want it everywhere. I'm not going to, but I'm still going to buy a PS5 because that's where I'm in. I'm a console gamer. People are just where they are, and that's
the point I was making.
Yeah, right, exactly. If you think, if I'm a kid, say 10, 11 years old, and I've got this Minecraft server that I've been working on, or whatever it is, whatever game it is, for years and years, and my dad says, "Well, I'm going to buy you an Xbox," and if it doesn't work, it should. I mean, I don't know how all that kind of stuff works, but no, I want that PS5 so I can continue what I've been doing, or unless there's like cross progression on a game. My kids play Rainbow Six all the time. One of their friends switched over to PC last week to play Rainbow Six, and my son's like, I've got way too much invested to go, jump over here. And I've got way too much invested to let him do it because I've paid for all the damn taxes. So, it's one of those things where it's just like, yeah, do I buy the console at $300 or and how much have I spent in microtransactions for his ass? So it's there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. I don't think it would hurt them at all to put their stuff. I understand like it's kind of like we want to get you in, we want to but in the end they're going to start seeing it. They're going to start saying, hey, this is stupid for us not to do this. Yeah,
because the corporate leadership is going to start saying, wait, you're telling me we could make 50 million more a year by moving these games to PC? Why aren't you doing this?
Yeah. Now just make sure it works.
Sure,
exactly.
So, all right. So we're kind of transitioning to the topic anyway, and we've kind of covered anything. I'll just say this: anything else on Xbox stuff this week that came out? Anything else you guys want to say about Xbox before we transition to something else?
Xbox is going to do better than what most people think this time.
I think so too.
I'm looking forward to their announcement when they have their formal show about the Series S and X, when they show off their last hurrah, because everything that we saw last week or in this past week rather was a result of the leak, and they've still got more. Not everything did leak, and they didn't show everything. I'm anxious to see that. I really hope they nail the pre-order sets. That's a big day for them. They need to make sure everything's running smoothly, prepared for the traffic. And the last point, to any and all people, we as gamers often rush to be part of the zeitgeist. Don't put yourself in a financial situation where you're rushing to have the thing. There's not much to do on it in those first 1 or 2, 3, even 6 months out. Don't rush for it. There's a lot to play right now on the current gen still, and a lot of it's going to transfer with forward compatibility and smart delivery, and just take your time getting there, because there's a lot to enjoy. And for COVID and any other reason, a lot of it's getting delayed, and it'll still be there when the time comes. I know that seems a little bit hokey, but I often want to be part of the zeitgeist. And then after the fact, I'm like, well, that was very unsatisfying. Like, that wasn't worth doing.
I almost do that every time.
Yeah.
I say, I've talked to Ains for I don't know how long, like the past week, and I'm like, you know what? I have no reason to buy an Xbox Series X. And then yesterday, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna probably just pre-order it.
He went on a rant a couple days ago about not buying them, and I said, all right, come back to me because I know you're buying it at launch.
Yeah,
and then yesterday, he's like, I think I'm just gonna buy it at launch. I was like, I know.
That's how I feel about PS5. Like, I want to be able to play Miles Morales, but man, like, I spend most of my time in a certain ecosystem, and my PlayStation sits there and collects dust, and that stinks because there's so many great games. But like, do I need to go and do that thing? And if you're not truly dying to play a game on a specific platform, take your time getting there. It'll still be there.
Yeah, that's what I was telling him. I was just like, man, I really want to play Spider-Man, and I can play all my third-party games. I guess I could just buy them on the PS5 and just go that route. But I just, at the same time, I'm so worried. We talked about this, about the supply. How much is going to be there in 6 months? Are they going to have a restock? Is it going to take 3 months? Is it going to take 6 months? I don't know. So, I mean, the safe bet is just to buy everything and just call it good. and then I can sit there. If the worst thing that could happen, really, if I did that, was that I have a PS5, I've got an Xbox Series X that I could probably sell for $1,000 because people are going to want that thing, and there's going to be no stock. Yeah, I have no shame. I don't care.
So I advocate patience, and Dan wants you to sell your soul.
If you can do it,
hey, it's benefiting him. He's the consumer, right?
I am the only one that I care about. That's right. Yeah, just do it. Buy everything. Maybe I'll buy two.
The way I think of it is, I'm going to buy them anyway.
Right. Yeah. Eventually, you're going to have
it. I'm very open. I'm fortunate to be in the situation I'm in. But whether I spend the $500 in November or I spend it next June, it makes zero difference to me. Zero.
And I'm not talking to us when I say.
Oh, yeah, I know.
No, you're talking about the masses. Yeah.
But again, we've come full circle, right? Because that's where a $299 console at launch.
Good point.
That's a big market play. along with $25 a month. If
I was going to say $25 a month. Shoot.
Anyway, okay. So we started kind of getting into the PS5, which is why I wanted to kind of wrap up the Xbox conversation, because we now know, as of this morning, actually, which was good timing for us, that PlayStation's announcement and their showcase is going to be on Wednesday at, is it noon? Oh,
that's 1 p.m. Eastern.
1 Pacific. I've got it right here.
Or is it Pacific? My bad.
Oh, there was some gaming that I could check. 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern is going to be the PlayStation showcase. Now, what's interesting about this, all of us got excited about this finally, right? We're going to see it. But if you went to the PlayStation blog where they talk about this, what they said specifically is 40 minutes, which is already shorter than I would have expected, right? 40 minutes, updates on the latest titles from worldwide studios and our development partners. That's all it says. So I think no matter what, they have to show or give us the PS5 pre-order day, right, and price. And they'll obviously show probably a few more games. In my opinion, they'll do a very, very typical Sony thing, and they will show a teaser for a major, major first-party game. Doesn't matter that it's 3 years out. They're going to show something to get the social media hype going, right, for a PlayStation 5 generation.
That's Sony mantra. They will sell you years ahead. For stuff.
Absolutely. They do that every time, right? So they will do that. It'll work because it always works. But I think I am a little weirded out to hear 40 minutes. And I know you can cover a lot in 40 minutes, but think of all the stuff we haven't heard from PlayStation yet. Nobody has seen the console in person. Nobody in the flesh. We haven't seen a hardware teardown. We actually don't even know what the full hardware spec is of the PS5. We only have the Sony presentation, which did not cover everything. We still don't know what the storage solutions are. We know it's an 825 gigabyte hard drive. And they've said that there's no first-party expansion, right? You have to buy a third-party SSD that has to be faster or faster than the PS5 drive. We don't know what that looks like, We don't know. We haven't heard any guaranteed launch lineup games, which is what I'm hoping we'll get on Wednesday. And we also don't know things like the full story on backwards compatibility. We've heard, yes, it plays all the PS4 games. Some will be enhanced. We don't know what that looks like definitively. And we don't know about the peripherals. We know PS4 controllers, won't work on PS5 games, but they have a new camera coming out, for instance, and they've talked about streaming. But on the PS4, you can't use USB cameras. You have to use the PlayStation camera. So is PS5 going to be the same way? Does the PS4 camera work on the PS5? All these questions of compatibility, cross-generational stuff. There's just an awful, awful lot that Sony has been very guarded about. And I was thinking that when they finally came out and did this show, we would get like a 90-minute show that just goes into depth on all this stuff. And clearly that's not what we're getting on Wednesday.
Do you have to have it on video?
What?
I'm just saying, you could just announce all the big stuff and then have a press release with every single piece of information you just said, and just go that route. Plus, if you wanted me to, I can take 3 minutes and literally answer every one of your questions. Because they could shove it all in 40 minutes. They 100% can. I don't think they will. I think they'll do more like, touch on the big points, give you a press release. This is how everything's going to work. This is how your expanded storage is going to work. This is how much all the peripherals will cost, unless it just doesn't make sense because people want to see games. People don't want to see, different angles of the console twisting around with like some fancy little background. I don't give a crap about that. Show me what the hell it does. That's the thing. I'm still waiting. It's driving me crazy. PlayStation.
Dan nails it. I think a lot of your questions are valid, but not necessary for the presentation. There's nothing to say you don't get an August showcase of some kind. It's time to show games. Again, being the market leader affords you leeway, right? Having the IP affords you leeway. The amount of things we don't know is concerning. The amount of stuff that feels anti-consumer next to the other stuff, as far as like peripherals, it's not as daunting because they've got the IP to back it up. And I think this showcase will likely focus on games. Bet your bottom dollar it should have been longer, Ains, and it probably would have been if this year had played out differently.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see that price point. They're probably navigating that messaging very carefully and running it back several times in the wording. Yes. I'm curious where the release date's going to land. I'm sure it's within a week or so of the
November 20th is the leaked date as of right now.
Sure, and not a bad date at all.
It's a Friday before Thanksgiving. So
yep, and whatever they do, I'll be glad to have answers. The worst part of this entire year in gaming and out of it has been not knowing. Not knowing is very hard on people. And once you get answers, whether you like them or not, you can plan. So I'm just looking forward to that because one less thing to not stress about will be nice. You'll see. Probably you asked about launch lineup: Demon Souls, Miles Morales, launch window, Ratchet and Clank, Horizon Zero Dawn within a year. I think is going to be their powerful message. That's what they're gonna go with, and see what else.
Damn.
So I hope you're right about Demon Souls at launch. I've been iffy on that. I think Spider-Man at 100% Spider-Man's their focus because that's this seller IP. But Demon Souls, don't underestimate it, right? That is a strong IP to have as an exclusive at launch. And if that alone would easily be my number one game at launch if it makes the launch lineup. Phasma, Dan, this one's for you.
Yeah.
Let the chip and tail dancing begin, man.
Yeah. Oh, all right. I got no problem with it. Oh, you even took the names off. You really want me to
it happens when you pull the comment up automatically.
Here's the thing. I gotta get like a really wide angle lens, so I need to really push this back, and to get the whole scoop. But listen, I'll put that out on Twitter later.
Bomber, you know, Phasma didn't ask us.
I know. It's okay. It's okay.
Come on now. I did a push-up last week.
That's a push-up. Oh, like a real push-up.
That's the best single push-up you've ever seen. Don't judge my push-up.
I didn't finish it, but I started it.
So, Bomber, where you at on this showcase, man? 40 minutes. Well, first of all, I don't know where you sit. Do you game on PlayStation as well?
I do.
Do you play PS4? I mean, how interested are you in PS5, and what do you think about this showcase on Wednesday?
All right, I'll say this: like PlayStation, I love it. I do. I've owned every PlayStation that's been out. I mean, I was a late adopter to the PS4 just because of the 360 era. I just had more on my 360, so it was a no-brainer for me to get Xbox One, regardless of their 2013 whatever they did. I was just like, yeah, my games, whatever. I know they're going to have the same type games, hopefully. And that didn't quite happen, but regardless. I got my PS4 2 years ago. Okay. Got Spider-Man with it. I was excited. Got God of War for $10. Got Horizon for $10.
You're proving Luke's point right now.
Like
There's need to rush out.
Yeah, and I was golden. I got it, and I got my PS4 Slim. Did not get the Pro because I couldn't afford $400 for the box at the time. So I was like $200. Hell yeah, and I got Spider-Man with it. So I was like, yeah absolutely.
Oh,
so,
I remember that deal. That was a hell of a deal. Yeah.
Dude, yeah. And so, yeah, I've liked my PlayStation. Does it collect dust? Well, so does my Xbox, because guess what? I'm in a room and dust gets on it, and I have to freaking wipe it off a lot. However...
I don't think that's the point.
No, I know. However, do I game on my PlayStation as much as Xbox? No, I've never done that, honestly. But their IPs, just like Lucas said, they're huge, and one of them particular this year, Ghost of Tsushima. Oh my god, like it has brought me to, like, whenever they announce that next one, absolutely. If I don't have a PS5 then, I will have them then. Like, absolutely. Like, it's just, I think IPs definitely they sell the system, and that's what Sony's been. And so yeah, I want to get a PS5, but I'm on that same side as Luke, though. As I don't know if I need to right now. Miles Morales, I know is going to be probably great. It's going to play just like the other Spider-Man game. I mean, it's no different other than it's still Spider-Man, but a different Spider-Man. I don't know. Either way, the story and all that, it's going to be cool. But most of my games that I was kind of excited for are launch window. So I'm like, okay, I can wait. Yeah. There's no definite. And that's where, even Xbox, but we're not going there yet. But PlayStation wise, yes, I'm for it. I hope this 40 minutes is good. I hope it
will be.
gives
I
us.
know it's going to be, because this is their response show, right? They have to show up.
Yeah, and they should, but I say they should because I'm the consumer wanting them to show up, but maybe they don't. Maybe they only talk about the things they've already talked about, showing it off more, like they finally showed Miles Morales playing on the PS5, and they don't show you anything else. Because the thing is that, and I lost train of thought after just listening to everything, but then the PS5 like we all talking about peripherals, it is only talked about the controller more than the system itself.
Yes.
The system seller is the controller.
Yeah.
And guess what? They have made sure that everybody knows every game coming out is taking advantage of that controller. So what does everybody need? They need that controller. Where can they get the controller? Only on the PS5. So you're going to buy a PS5 so you have the crazy triggers that Call of Duty is going to allow you to use it with, what Dirt's going to allow you to use it with. Big third-party games that are coming out are taking advantage of this, what some people say gimmick, but I don't think it's a gimmick. I think it is something that's good. Granted, I still think PS4 controllers should definitely work on them, but that's just my personal opinion. Because
didn't they do that with the touchpad at PS4 though? Right?
Yeah.
Didn't they like talk all about the new controller?
Dude, absolutely.
And, what it could do?
And then it went away. Hardly
Man,
anybody used it.
It ran out of battery. You had to plug it back up.
Yeah. And first party is the only one that actually used it.
It's the DualSense will be the same way. I bet anyone any amount of money.
It's after time goes, I think that's what's
going
going to be.
It'll only be first party.
And didn't Xbox also have those like?
Yes,
I don't know. It's not the same. But yeah,
it's like a rumble trigger, but
yeah,
right.
It doesn't have the function of being able to what they have already talked about, where when you're shooting and your gun locks up, it won't let you pull the trigger. I'm sorry, that's going to piss somebody off and break the controller. It would piss me off.
Sir, we talked about this morning. I sent you a message. You're gonna be able to turn all that crap off.
Yeah, I hope God,
yeah.
yes.
Well, then it just becomes irrelevant, and it becomes then you should be able to use your PS4 controller technically.
Hey, the argument I made a few weeks ago, and people argue with me.
No, so, I know. It's because it can't work on it.
Yeah,
oh crap! I can still control the characters and press all the same buttons. Give me a break.
It can't work the way that DRM and Always Online can't work for the Xbox One. I don't know.
Yeah,
it can't work like Control can't work and be upgraded.
Oh,
right.
Shit. Or give you a free upgrade accidentally.
Who's still using the feedback methods that the Xbox One has in their triggers and the touchpad on the PS4?
Nobody.
No one.
Forza used it, and it's awesome in Forza.
It is awesome.
Absolutely.
That's the way you get it used.
Yeah, it doesn't get used. So anyway, no, you're fine. I'm with you. I did the same thing. I had a train of thought, completely just left the station. So Dan, thoughts on Wednesday, man? I know you've been very clear about wanting to see. Look, I need to see these games running on the damn system, right?
Yep.
Spider-Man included, of course. What else would you expect here? And do you agree with? I think we said the same thing here as well as some of the chat. Do you agree Sony's going to do that thing where they show a tease of something like a God of War 2 or something major AAA? Even though it's a few years out, they're going to build that hype train for social media.
I mean, that would work, but then, I mean, it's the thing is, if you're doing it for that reason, then I can really tell you what's going to happen. It's going to be like, man, God of War 2, yeah, woo. And then the other guys are going to be like, yeah, it's like 3 years out, though. And they're like, I don't care, though, because, yeah, God of War 2. I mean, this is I want to see if they're working on something cool. I want to see actual gameplay running on a PS5 of Spider-Man Miles Morales. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
All right. So show me that, because that's soon. That's like, then say, okay, hey, God of War 2 is coming. Cool. Awesome.
I mean, we know it.
Oh, yeah,
right?
we know it.
Exactly. And that's the sad thing is like, they don't need to
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, just, don't get penisy. That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing.
I think they already have.
Yeah. And they have every right to be right now. But if you continue down that path, you're screwed.
You continue flopping it about.
Yeah, you're going to be all over the place, and it's just going to have no direction, and then we're going to be in trouble. Just
diseases and
yeah. It's gonna get really gross. But yeah, I mean, I want to see, show me the price, show me what it can do. You know, I mean, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is going to run at 4K 60 on the Xbox Series X. I see no reason it shouldn't run the same on the PS5. You know, if it doesn't, then you failed miserably. There's no reason. I mean, then I don't have a reason to buy it. You know, because aside from the exclusive games, you know, so that could change my thinking. You know, in a second. You know,
another discussion, right? We haven't touched on is third-party games, major,
Right.
which we know. The vast majority of games that are played on any of these consoles are third-party games. They're cross-platform games. I mean, that's just
100%.
statistically a fact.
Yep.
So again, I think, and you can quote me on this, I think that the Series X is going to show consistently better performance than the PS5 on third-party games. It's just going to. So, but how much does that weigh on people's decision of where they play?
Not at
I don't think
all. Just like Luke said. You know, I mean, it's going to be, you know, you're looking at the 5%ers, the 10%ers, maybe that's it. You know, even for me anymore, I want it to be able to do, my TV can go to 4K, 60 frames. That's all it can do. So that's all I need it to do. If you can do that, then it doesn't matter which way I go. Now you're looking at, you know, load times, you're looking at, you know, what it actually looks like. But, you know, we've had a discussion also offline where I'm getting older and my eyes can't see as well as, you know, it used to be. I can tell the difference between 1080p and 4K in like a movie, but you know, when I switch something over to performance mode, it doesn't matter to me because I just can't see with my eyes, as old and crappy as they are, a huge difference. You know, on video games for some reason.
My friend,
what?
You sound like a Series S gamer to me.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. You know, I mean, so that part of me, but I also want, you know. What happens? Yeah, what happens down the road? You know, I need that extra space. I need, you know, when they are able to do 4K 120 like consistently, you know, not just racing games and multiplayer games. You know, I want to see them reach that potential. I want to, you know, and that's so far down the road. So if the game, you know, if given all the, you know, you said the performance will be obviously better on the X, only because it's on paper it's more powerful. So I can't, you know, there's no argument there, you know, but can it do what I need it to do is the question on a PS5. Will it be able to do Valhalla at 4K 60? And don't start with checkerboarded versus native. I don't even give a crap. I can't barely tell the difference between 1080 and 4K. You're going to tell me there's a big ass difference. It's a lie, and it's a terrible lie, you know, and it's just numbers that people use to throw around and say, well, look at me, my more powerful console. But like Luke said, it doesn't matter because it typically doesn't sell, you know, consoles. You've never gone into Best Buy. Nobody has ever gone to Best Buy and said, hey, can I have your biggest teraflop console, please? What is it?
You've never been to Best Buy with me, my friend.
You've never done that in your life. One, because you already know. If you're going in there asking that question, you already know the answer to that question. But nobody, you know, like, hey, come on, Johnny, let's go. Hey, sir, what's your biggest teraflop console? Well, that would be the Xbox Series X.
We should do that experiment. Just film it, right?
So
I want the console that has the most teraflops.
Yeah, can you hit me with those teraflops, please?
And the sad thing is you're going to go in those retail stores, and I'm sorry, they're going to like,
yeah, they're not even going to know what's going on. Yeah,
but I bought a PlayStation 5.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, just come on in and, you know, just give me what I want to see. It's not that hard. We're so close.
In the chat, what console plays Fortnite? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, what console plays God of War or Last of Us? Zelda. That's what they're going to ask.
Yeah,
that's where Xbox needs to fix it. Like, and give us the games that we want.
And you know, right now, if just everything was equal, I would say I would buy a PlayStation 5 over an Xbox One X, and that's only for the games. You know, not for necessarily performance. Now, when Fable comes out or Avowed, then I'm looking at that next gen, and I'm going, those games look really, really good. And then we haven't seen obviously hardly anything, but even like Everwild and stuff like that, I still want to see those games. So I'm interested. I'm like I said, you know what's going to happen is I'm just going to buy them both and just, you know, do whatever. But you know, from if I take a step back and look at it objectively, that's probably what I'm saying. And Luke, you're probably right. You know, what game? You know, where can I play Zelda? Where can I play Mario? Where can I play, you know, The Last of Us or Spider-Man? You know. That's going to give you more, I think, of an incentive than here's Game Pass. It's $25 a month. You know, it depends. There's so many different consumers and so many things that they are looking for. So
IP sells systems, man. IP sells systems. Value Nah, you like we're still paying $60 for every single Nintendo game, right? Like IP sells systems more than anything else, and that's where Microsoft knows they need to fix it. They've already invested in fixing it. They've not fixed it yet, though, and until they're proof in the pudding, and so they're compensating with value, compensating with power. That's just the way it's going down, and I love that because I love that value. I play so many games, like it's great for me.
Great. I mean, and I just want to quell the rumors right now. This is true. Not many people know this. It's definitely true. So
now, Ames, what about when you give your grandma your Christmas list? How's she gonna know which one to buy you?
God,
okay, like how's she gonna know?
Grandma.
Yeah. The old grandma argument. How's my grandma gonna know what Xbox? Oh my God, just stop it.
Listen, before we get any farther, suck a big one, Kotaku. I mean, just
dude, yes.
I mean, get out of here with that garbage.
Actually, it's everybody. Look at GameStop or what is
GameSpot.
it? GameSpot. Like, they all have. They're all doing it. They're like, the name is stupid. It's just Xbox. Like, y'all
watch those people and follow seasongaming.com.
Yo, they are one bad quarter away from all caps. This is huge industry news. All caps, content creation methods. They're one bad quarter away.
Yep. Yeah, it's getting bad out there. We knew it would, though, right? It's that time of the year.
Yep.
Everyone's fighting for clicks. Yep. I've said many times this is why I love that we don't have to fight for clicks. So but
say something worth saying, and I'll go. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I was saying, Dan said screw Kotaku. I'm like, you don't have to say that this week. I mean, that we could have a hashtag. That's a standard week in, week out thing.
Yes, right.
Just like Cancel Dan.
Just like Game of the Year anthem. I mean, Game of the Generation anthem. I mean, that's just
all facts. Always speaking facts here. So let's do it, guys. Call out, and I know the obvious. I think the most common price guess for PS5 is $399 digital, $499 disk drive, right? That's where I am too, and I'll give you my reason why, and then I want to hear from you guys. Your guess as we get into before Wednesday. The reason I'm there, I think that they were going to be priced higher. I think they can't price higher now because of where Xbox has gone. They are going to lose money, substantially so, on these consoles. But as we've already covered in a number of different ways, Sony has to sell consoles. They're less reliant upon services. They're less spread out in their revenue stream as Xbox is. And whether you realize it or not, PlayStation makes up 27% of Sony's overall revenue annually. 27%. PlayStation is an absolute critical pillar to Sony. So they're going to have to take this hit up front. It's going to be a big hit. But if you can get people into PS5 digital at $399, you then make up some of that hit on the back end, right? Because your digital, your profit margins are higher. Especially remember that you cannot buy PlayStation digital games from outlets anymore. You have to buy them from PSN. So their profit margins are higher, and I just think that's what they're going to do. They cannot afford to be more than $100 more than Series S. And I know the PS5 is a more advanced system than Series S, right? It doesn't matter. You're looking at the marketplace again, right? $100 is already a big win for Xbox, and you can expect them to market the crap out of the Series S at $299.
Can you though? Yes. I mean, you haven't seen anything.
It wasn't even supposed to be announced yet.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I've never seen the good marketing from Microsoft to this point. I mean, just being completely objective, it's not great. So I would hope that they do that.
That's spoken like a man that's never been fooled by Halo 5 Guardians marketing right there. I'll tell you that. Source.
We're not going down that. But the point being, Dan, is that that already gives Xbox a big market advantage, which is what they want. But I think Sony has to come down to $399, $499. I think the disc drive PS5 has to match the Series X. But I fully expect Sony to somehow, because their marketing is usually brilliant, to somehow position the $399 PS5 as the go-to, right? Because what they can say is this is the I don't know how they word it. They're smarter than I am at this, but they're basically saying you're getting that full experience at $399 versus $499. Whereas they'll find a way to show that the PS5 is a superior console to the Series S. That's my opinion. So where are you guys at on this?
Yeah, you gotta go ahead.
I've jumped back and forth, changing it from like $50 increments, just messing around. And honestly, $399, $499 is to me the ideal.
Yeah. And to your point, not to interrupt you, Bomber, but I've seen a lot of people say that the $100 increment is too big for a disk drive, which on paper it is, right?
It definitely is, yeah.
It would mean they take a bigger hit on the digital console up front.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And see, and I think that's where it's tough because you take this physical thing. I mean, the Xbox currently $500. Okay. Comes with a disk drive. Okay. Super powerful, whatever. So you have this same box with a disk drive. You're going to make it more than $500? No, can't do it. However, could you make it less than $500? Absolutely. But how much did they spend into it? I mean, I don't know when this was, March, April, when we heard like the development cost of the box itself was already at $450, like just to make the box. So I'm like, if that's the case, then they can't sell it for $450, or they could, I guess that's breaking even. But what else have they added to it possibly? Because they did that with the PS4. That at the last minute they changed some things. Yep. What if they do the same thing here? They change some things because Xbox has a little edge. Let's add a few more things that Sony didn't talk about, and we don't have to go back on anything.
And remember that when we talk about like I think it was $440, $450, like you said, for production of the box, right? Mm-hmm. Doesn't include controller, doesn't include cables, doesn't include packaging, shipping, all those other things, right?
But when you sell a digital box, every transaction, every game purchase goes through your network, and you make up that cost a lot faster.
Yeah, like that's what we were saying, right?
Oh, is that what he said? Yeah. Oh, come on. This guy's been on, here's the thing about that. Spend 6 hours a day with me on Xbox Live, and he's over there. I got a PlayStation podcast.
So
4 and 500, just as well.
Hold on, Bomber, what's your final prediction?
Final prediction, I believe it's going to be $399 for digital, which will be the sweet spot. That's going to sell the most units, 100%. And then you'll have the PS5, I guess, Prego edition at $499.
I wish they called it the Prego edition.
They should. I mean, it's pregnant. It literally has a baby bump.
Prego Station 5. All right, Luke, go for it.
It's 4 and 500. For all the reasons we've said,
okay.
There's nothing to add. I'm sorry.
Nope, you guys nailed it. Moving on. Yep. Dan, where are you at?
I'm probably the same thing. I mean, I think they could go 5 and 600. I don't think it'll make. I think it'll make a difference, but I think they could still do it and get away with it. I don't think they will, but I think they could ride that name a little bit farther than Xbox can. And the fact that their install base is already super rabid and huge, but at some point that's going to crash, so do you risk coming out of the gate $100 more, 500, say 550 or 600, and, turn a bunch of people off, especially given the economical climate right now. So I don't think they do that, but I think if everything was normal, they could 100% do it and not even have an issue, and probably not even worry about it until, things start to change, I think. Once they do.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'd say once they start changing, once they start seeing that people are going to go, oh yeah, that's way cheaper to go over here and do this, then, but right out the gate, they could do it. But I think eventually that will actually move the needle more than anything else. So, it's the smart play is 400 and 500, because then you're putting, you can say what you want. $100 isn't that big of a difference, right out the gate. And people will say it is. It's really not, especially when you're so ingrained into, your PlayStation ecosystem, and I don't know, like, because everything's going to convert to. So I can't speak on anything else as far as like what's going to cost in Canada or, Poland or whatever. So, I mean, the smart move is 4 and 5, but they could do 5 and 6 and probably get away with it for about 6 months, and then they'd have to start changing their shit because
I was going to say, I think, because to your point, the early adopters are going to probably buy it no matter what, right? And that first production run, even if it was 600. But remember, the PlayStation 2 was more dominant on the marketplace than the PS4 has been by a long shot. PlayStation 2 is the best-selling console of all time. Sure. Its number one competition was the Xbox, which sold less than 30 million units. I mean, it dominated the market, and they went into the PS3 era very arrogantly.
Yeah.
They came out a year late. They came out more expensive, and they got kicked in the teeth because of it. So don't think for a second that, the name, we've seen history repeat itself. And I think the market's different now because of digital and some other things. But we have seen that people are willing to switch. They are not tied to, the mass market is not tied to having a PS5 just because they had a PS4. Hell, we saw from the 360 to the PS4 generation, right? Plenty of people switched from 360 to PS4. So if they were to come out and say your cheapest PS5 is $500 and we have one first party game and all the same games that run worse over here, I don't know.
You say it worse, it's going to be,
Well, we know that's not a seller. I'm just saying that would be a point.
Right. Yeah. No, the price is a huge point for sure. I just don't think
they can do 500-600 and say not take a hit. I think that's a big hit.
I don't think it'll be off the gate. If you don't think that they would sell out whatever they have now at $500 and $600, it would be gone.
Yeah, they'll sell that. Yeah,
100%. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Right out the gate, you could sell, and you're going to sell them out. They're just going to. Both systems, I think, will sell out. Within days, if not,
first shipment, yes, maybe even second. But if you're 5 and 6, that February, March is looking rough because we're in the middle of a year in which the entire globe's finances have altered from where they were a year ago.
Yep.
And money is harder to come by, jobs harder to come by. And that absolutely demands that they take that into account.
Yeah. Well, it pissed me off too if I did it and paid for it at $600 and then come March, I got they dropped the price $100. I'm like, you sons of bitches.
I should have just waited, man.
I agree with Cal here. So what's up, Cal? He said, this is what we've been talking about, right? Xbox has set the market line now, and cat's out of the bag, but Sony has to come down to meet it.
I think they will. I mean, and I think comparatively, you're going to have with the digital editions. With the S and the the PS5, I think $100 is probably a pretty close, given the power difference, I guess. But really more name recognition than anything else. People will 100%, but they have to realize, hey, you're not getting a disc drive, dude. So just remember that.
And I think that's why like Xbox was upset with their stuff leaking because if say all this we don't know anything until next week. I think it would have been even bigger because at that point they're both announcing pricing, as we think Sony is.
Yep.
So like that would be even bit like how does Sony recover? Do they just not announce it then? Take that out of their little video? Oh, nope, delete.
Yeah, that was 2013, right?
Right.
When Xbox announced and Sony, got all excited, right?
Yep.
They were $499, but anyway, all right. So we're pretty much on the same page. We'll know here in a few days. So. I did not realize, guys, it's been a great conversation. I didn't realize we've already been talking for 2 hours. So,
Jesus.
Yeah. So let's touch on just a couple other things, and we'll get out of here. But I did really want to quick touch on and just get your overall thoughts. We won't go game by game here, but we had the Ubisoft Forward event this week, right? We saw Prince of Persia remake is real, although the remake part is questionable. We saw Riders Republic, which is from the Steep development team, and I'm actually very excited about that. I think it's a cool idea, and I like what I've seen. And then we saw Immortals, which is from the AC Odyssey team and looks literally to be like AC Odyssey meets Breath of the Wild. So looks interesting to me. What did you guys like out of this show, if anything? Bomber, I'll start with you.
Immortals looks cool. Wish it was called Gods and Monsters.
It's a weird name.
I think it's still Gods and Monsters in my heart. Or they could have just called it Phoenix Rising and just be done with it, just because that's the name of the character. Like they could have just the Immortals. Just anyway. It looked cool. It looked like a Breath of the Wild / something. I think the puzzles and the stamina is going to piss me off more than anything, but it looks like a really cool, solid game. So I'm happy for that. I liked the Riders game. It looked
Riders Republic. Yeah.
Riders. It looked cool because I love like BMX stuff, and this would be the closest thing to that. And also, it's basically freaking Fall Guys, but you're
Right.
doing other things like flying around, and it looked incredible.
Yeah.
And it's all next gen is what they said, so it's not current gen game; it's next gen. So I thought that was a pretty cool little thing that at least I remember hearing that it said next gen, but
it launches in February on Series X and PS5, but there is a PS4 and Xbox One version.
Oh, is there? Oh, well then never mind. So don't listen to me. But yeah, I mean, other than that, what was the other one?
Prince of Persia remake.
Oh, that trash. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Trash.
I was very pumped about Prince of Persia, absolutely. But as soon as they showed it, I said they take away remake. Absolutely, take it away. It's not a remake. You have too many awesome games that have came out that are remakes that look incredible. Mafia, freaking all the Resident Evils 2 and 3, Final Fantasy 7 remake. You can't tell me that this is a remake, even though they said, "Oh, we did." Like, no, you didn't. You took it and put some paint on it and said, "Here's your same game." Like, no, it just.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yep, that's it.
Look, where you at on these games? Any interest?
Not really. It's like how do you say that?
You look dead inside,
It's
man.
tough. I'm a little dead inside, and so like I was trying to weigh. Like I had a really intense week at work, right? And so I'm like, all right, am I being biased? Because I watched it and I was like, nothing about this seems cool. But at the same time, Ubisoft delivers reliability, right? Like you know what you're getting in most Ubisoft games. But that I didn't think it was a good show, really, and I didn't get thrilled by anything I saw. That I like nothing new thrilled me. I know I'm in for Valhalla. I don't know. I thought it was a pretty boring show for my personal interests. I think Gods and Monsters does look kind of neat. Oh wait, it's called whatever. Nothing was thrilling by it, and I will probably play some of the games. I do not hate Cyberpunk. Somebody in chat was like, you hate Cyberpunk. I'm interested in Cyberpunk more than I was a week ago. But no, nothing about this Ubisoft Forward did it for me. And I'm wondering if maybe that's just life because some people are very high on it. I thought Riders Republic was just cool, I guess. I don't know. It was the best 5 out of 10 show I've ever seen.
There you go.
I'm so sorry, guys.
Dan?
Yeah, I mean, it's garbage. Basically.
Yep. All right, there it is. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, glad I brought this one up, guys.
No, you're fine. I mean, why haven't we seen a Far Cry 6, or something good?
That's very true.
Yeah. I mean,
I think they're having another one next month, right?
Yeah, if we were seeing Far Cry 6, it's the 6th one. Whatever. I mean, like,
I need more Giancarlo Esposito or whatever his name is.
I really was hoping they would show, just because of the marketing stuff, was freaking Valhalla running on a Series X. Like that.
I thought we were going to see that too. Yeah.
That was my number. Like I was waiting for it, and then they're like, "Here's our biggest reveal, the Riders game." I'm like, "Okay, that's cool," but that's not what I was hoping for.
Here's it. Was anybody talking about Ubisoft Forward the next day?
God no.
Not really. There's interest in Immortals, I think.
Yeah, that would be it.
But everyone's talking when they're talking about Immortals, they're talking about the name.
Yep.
That's the conversation,
That's
right?
true.
Which tells you everything you should gather from it. Will we all play it or try them? Probably, because that's what we do with Ubisoft. But nothing thrilled.
No. There's this Porsche boomer guy talking about Riders Republic, and I think he's the only guy on Twitter talking about it.
That's the guy that likes Anthem, right? I'm just checking.
Yeah, I think that's probably.
Yeah, Mariano said Scott Pilgrim. That was a great game. So that's awesome.
I know, Anna brought it up.
Yeah, but I just.
But short of that,
go around Scott Pilgrim for coming back. No,
that's it looks. It's pretty fun.
All right, guys. I'm gonna give you your chance. I'm gonna give you your chance just in case you brought something and were prepared for this. Anything that you feel like ranting about?
I think I already did most of the show.
I know that's how I feel too. So, well, not already ranting. I guess
I didn't come with anything this week. I'm actually in a positive mode this week.
The only here. This is the only thing I'll do, and it's actually based on what happened this week.
Yeah.
Is freaking you cannot. Okay, So everything that came out this week about Xbox, you cannot tell me it's a negative. There's nothing negative about anything that has happened throughout all
With
of
the
this.
name and grandma, dude.
You know what? Tell your grandma to quit buying you shit and give her you cash. All right, there.
That's right, right.
I mean, so like quit being so pissy. Like, oh my god, it's okay. It's $300, but it doesn't do 4K. Like, no, it doesn't. They said that. Like, get over that. Like, you're not getting. Oh, but the One X is actually better. You won't get the One X enhanced. Well, no, because it's 4K on the One X. It's not on that. So you're gonna have different enhancements. So it's different. Yes, we got that, but it's $300.
It's not like they lied about any of this stuff. They were
exactly
what it does.
Like, it's clear cut. People quit, like, and you're downplaying people getting an S. Oh, it's whatever. My PS5 is going to be like you look. We know the PS5 is more powerful than the S. We know that. Good. It should be more expensive. And people are like, oh, it may only be $50 more. Bullshit. Like, they're not going that low. Get over that. They shouldn't. It's more powerful. Like, it's just. This week it pissed me off with just people just being negative over this thing about gaming and EA the EA thing. I mean, I know we talked about it, but like people were like, "Oh, EA just sucks anyway." Like, well, it's a lot of games. I mean, they do, but I'm saying like the games themselves sell very well, regardless.
Yeah, what other time ever in being a gamer does someone say, "Hey, by the way, you already have the service. Here's 90 more games and some discounts," and people are like, "Well, that sucks."
Exactly. That's my point. Like,
it's
make
free.
it negative. It's free. You pay nothing more. Absolutely not. You just happen to go in Game Pass and go, oh shit, there's Madden. Like, that's it. Like, stop being an asshole. Like, this is what you're doing. I'm sorry, but that's my rant. That was the only thing that was on my chest that pissed me off.
Get him.
There we go.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think I said the same thing. I'm like, I just don't know how people can be negative about, no matter what the news is, right?
Yes.
It doesn't have to be Xbox, right? Any news that's positive, someone has to be negative about it. It's like, dude, you got to be a miserable effing person in real life. Like, who would want to be around you? Like
it's gaming, man. Like, it's meant to be fun and exciting and thrilling and
and it's cheaper and broader than it's ever been.
Absolutely,
ever. Like, it's crazy. All right, Dan, you got nothing. You're coming, no beer to try.
I would go on the opposite side of what Bomber said, and I said it before.
If you rant about free games, I'm muting you.
The positivity, I almost hate it more than I hate the negativity, because a lot of times it comes.
I think fake positivity.
Like the I can do no wrong attitude of some people drives me nuts. Be critical of what you have.
Oh yeah,
it's okay. You know, and I'm with you, Bomber. Like, if you can't complain about free stuff,
right?
But also, let's not just keep going. You know, well, you sit there and you yell at a thing, you know, or whatever it is, like a PlayStation. Oh, well, you don't have this, you know, for example, and you know you're trash because you don't have the power. And then if they were to come out and say, well, we've got this, which is actually more powerful. Power doesn't matter. Like, don't switch your narrative all the goddamn time to move your goalposts. That's
moving. Yeah,
nuts. Yeah. That is one of those things. Like, you be consistent. You know, we know. You know, getting free games is great. Getting more games is fantastic. Just don't, you know, pretend like EA is fantastic here. They're still crap.
I'm not going to say they're fantastic at all, but just get them for free.
That's fine, because you've screwed me over long enough, EA. So now I will take advantage and reap what you use. So that's basically what I'm saying. Otherwise, you know, also Chicago drivers, you're crazy and you're insane, but I respect the hell out of you because you don't give two shits. You know, you go from Chicago to Kansas, it's a night and day difference. You gotta, you know, they say you gotta drive defensively. Bullshit. In Chicago, if you don't try to kill somebody, you're not doing your job. So shout out to the Chicago drivers that, you know, except for that one super old lady that got in front of me that was going 55 and a 55, but everybody else was going 80. So, you know, it's a different, you know, learn your place. Get off the tollway. We'll drive down North Avenue. That's all I'm saying. All right. Anyway.
By the way, lady liked your comment here, Dan. Now that you're free, I'm totally going to use you.
Fantastic.
That's a great quote. We're going to have to add that in an official segment.
Damn right. It's like GameStop. Like people get mad about, or saying, well, they're going out of business. You know what? Tough titty. You should have, done stuff different. You should have adjusted. I have no sympathy for those people that have taken so much of my money and given me so little on games like that I just bought. Oh, here's like a $60 game. Oh, okay. Well, you took it out of the store and unwrapped it. So now we're going to give you $10. You know what? Fine. Take it back. One day you're going to be suffering and you're going to be wishing that you would have, kept me as a customer, you piece of garbage. And now they just sold their corporate plane. Suck it. Suck it.
See, all I had to do was pull his cord.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
That's it. You just had to just pull a little bit.
Yeah.
Daddy Kathy Dan over there.
That's what you did. Suck it. Except for the employees at GameStop. I feel bad for you guys. I do.
Except for everybody that's actually affected by it.
Yeah. Those people, I feel bad for you. I really, really do. But the corporate people can eat one. Now they have to take a bus.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. Typical of corporate, right? The guys at the top who make these decisions, they'll be fine. It's all the workers that are going to have to pay the price and lose their jobs.
Yeah. See what you've done? You made it even worse. Even more reason to hate those people.
Anyway, Luke, you got any?
Pull his strings. Come on.
What happens when people say you don't have anything to rant about? Go ahead.
I'll rant about something that's legit. The Avengers matchmaking sucks. And it is so freaking annoying. Sitting there trying to play with Babbitt last night. We took 48 different tries and methods, and then this mission doesn't work, and this one does. We just want to beat up some generic robots together and look cool doing it. Nope. Avengers matchmaking is god awful, and it's a damn shame. It's just why? Why is it so frustrating?
Isn't it?
Yeah. Why can't I select the mission and start the mission that my friend can't play in when they're in the party? What do the power levels mean? They don't mean anything. What is the gear score? Why does the Hulk have a gear score? And it's infuriating, and I hate it. Also, I'm 4 iTunes reviews away from my goal, and it's just sitting there nagging at me and bothering me because I'm just sitting there thinking about the number, and it's like, oh, you know what I've had? Come on, it's in the back of my head. And also, wear your mask, you weirdo. What's your deal? Yes. Why won't you wear your mask? At worst, you're inconvenienced. All right, come on. What's your deal? Get it together. Also, toothpaste is really hard to get out at the end of the tube. Like, come on. Like, how many times I gotta fold this thing, and then my wife's yelling at me. I don't pick up my towel whenever I need to, and now I hang it on the right one. I got a lot of bars to get off, as they say over on ILP.
This was meant to be gaming rant.
Oh, sorry. Hey, I'm so sorry.
We're off it now.
Heated. Let me just.
We're going.
Thanks, guys.
Tires on cars should not be as expensive as they are.
Thank you.
It's freaking rubber that you took from other tires, melted them down, and made new tires.
Yeah.
Bastards.
Yeah. All right, we're all over the place. We're getting a little loopy. It's been 2 hours. All right, and by the way, we're going to close out here shortly anyway, so you could have mentioned it then anyway, Luke. But yeah, we should have mentioned it when we had the biggest number of people watching live. But Luke, Xbox Expansion Pass, as he just heard, he's only 4 people away from his goal on reviews. If you have iOS, an iPhone, and iPad, just go on there, Xbox Expansion Pass, give him a review. Okay, let's crush that goal today, man. Come on, it's not hard.
That would be amazing if you guys are able to do that. I did turn a few colors there. I saw my camera adjusting. I was like, ooh.
A little red. All right, guys. There were a couple other things I'm going to talk on, but we've been chatting for a while. It's been a fun show, man. I thank you guys so much again for coming on late notice. Really appreciate it. It's always awesome. You guys are regulars, you know that. So just wanted to give you a big thank you for that. Bomber. So Wednesday night, Gaming Beyond the Box. Let's hear it, man. Anything you want to shout out before we get ready to close out here?
Yeah, man. I just Wednesday. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Game Beyond the Box. That's it, man. I just want people to come just like here. We sit, chill, talk, and have fun. I mean, that's what gaming's all about, man. So that's what this is all about. So
why do you want to have fun? You should be having fun.
Right.
Damn. You want to have fun for free? That's not allowed.
That's definitely not
allowed. Are you playing in that Playcasters thing tonight?
I should be, yes, absolutely.
Okay, so Playcasters is a.
I forget, man. See,
you're good. I got you. Playcasters is kind of a hashtag you'll find on Twitter. It's an event that Forkboy and Gaming Beyond the Box is kind of coordinating, but Season Gaming and the Lords over at Lords of Gaming are kind of involved in it as well. Every Saturday in some form, there's going to be a gaming event that's communities open to and a live stream and everything. So I think they're doing it tonight at 7 Eastern.
Yes, 7 Eastern, I believe.
Yes. 7
Yeah.
Eastern. There's a Fortnite event. I may stop by, though. I don't play Fortnite. I'll probably suck. But if nothing else, I'll stop by to chat and just kind of hang out. But like I said, Fork and a bunch of other guys are playing too. So definitely check that out every Saturday. Luke, we just talked about Xbox Expansion Pass, of course. Always promoting you on the show here. What do you want to shout out before we get out, bro?
Anybody that's willing to check out XEP, the Xbox Expansion Pass, on your podcast service of choice, it would be wonderful. I'd really appreciate that. Have guests on from all over the industry, and it'd be great to have you guys check that out. And you can find me on Twitter and Twitch at Insipid Ghost.
Awesome. And Elu actually just said in the chat, my son and I will be doing the Fork Night thing tonight, so that's awesome. So
nice.
Yep, already involved. All right, guy on the right, I forget your name, but you got any more?
I got nothing. D Rodriguez, WDSC on Twitter. Also, go to Luke's page and give him some damn reviews.
Yeah, absolutely, do that.
Do I have to sign up for an Apple account to give you a review?
You do have to have an account to give a review.
I
don't have anything Apple, so I can't.
I had to make a PC account to use iTunes. You can do it on PC, but yeah, that's what I did.
Okay,
to like help.
I'll do that then.
I totally forgot too. Of course, I have, but I get my wife. She's got an iTunes account too. I can get her to do it. So, there's lots of listeners after we're live too on this show. So, like we said, let's help them out, guys. Come on.
Yep. It's a good show, man.
It's an awesome
Thank
show.
The Ryan McCaffrey interview was fantastic.
Oh, that was
Thank
fantastic.
You. Your mic wasn't that bad.
It
No,
really
it
Thank
wasn't
you.
bad. Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Talk about it, because that was the most frustrating thing, because poor guy, he canceled because we were live. We were talking to each other, and then his mic bailed. So we rescheduled, and then I had a new webcam, and it's recording on that one. I was like, oh, no. But thank you. I'm glad, because I was really worried about that. Thank you.
Fine.
You're good, man.
So cool. It's been an awesome week. Season Gaming is we've got a lot going on, man. So we've got like reviews for all the big games out there, whether it's Wasteland, Avengers, Tell Me Why's coming, all 3 chapters. Phasma's doing that review actually, which will be up soon. I did Tony Hawk's out there. Phasma joined Season Gaming officially as a contributor yesterday, actually. So I think everyone here knows her. It's nice to have her on board. Very solid writer, and her first article is up right now, which is talks about video game spoilers. So check that out. We've got already new articles in the hopper from Elu, Steve, and another one from Phasma coming this week. God, there's a lot going on. And then we'll see, right? We should have Jez next week now to talk about Xbox and obviously what we see out of PlayStation this week. So been a fun week, a lot going in the future. I think, guys, these next several weeks are going to fly by, and we'll literally be sitting at home on our PS5s and our Xbox Series S's, X's, what have you, before we know it. So that'll be awesome.
Yes.
So, all right, guys, chat, you've been awesome as always. Thanks, everyone. Thank you to the regulars. Thanks to everyone who stopped by. And thank you, of course, if you're one of our listeners that listens to this later. So until next week, thanks, and we'll see you then. And as always, I don't have the outro ready. You're welcome.